for Grandview. So both my daughters went here. So he's on the dance team. So good forward. Coming on. Ever so that next start going before he started being on the dance. Okay. But I just like to watch it. Great. What are you trying to go in? Oh, yeah, twice. Yeah. Number 4.
Following last week's historic comeback win, the Lindsey Wilson football team finds itself making history again today. For the first time ever, Lindsey Wilson faces the number one team in the NAIA with a national semi-berth on the line. The Blue Raiders and top-ranked Grandview meet in the NAIA Football Championship Series here today in Des Moines, Iowa, for the fifth time since the 2014 season and the third time in the last 5 seasons. And every meeting has been a one-score game. We don't expect any different here this afternoon. Coming up over the next 45 minutes, we'll take a look at today's matchup. We'll talk to head coach Phil Kleckler, get you caught up on the NAIA Football Championship Series. It's the number 7th ranked Lindsey Wilson Blue Raiders and the number 1 ranked Grandview Vikings live from MediaCom Stadium here in Des Moines, Iowa. And we're just 45 minutes away from kickoff. Let's take a 30-second break. We'll be back. This is Blue Raider Football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network.
Kind of a bar, a short bar area. Where it's still there. Yeah. It took a long time to get this. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Des Moines, Iowa. A frigid afternoon, and it's what a beautiful day for Lindsey Wilson football. Not because of the weather, but just because we're playing in December, and December football means you are deep into the playoffs, and that's exactly what's going on here this afternoon as Lindsey Wilson takes to the field here in the central part of the United States, Bob. Alongside Bob Boone, I'm Chris Wells. Addie Bennett, our studio engineer back in the WAIN studios. And this is the fifth time the Blue Raiders, as I mentioned, have played Grandview, all in the national championship series. And third time in 5 years. This has become a pretty good rivalry, even though I wouldn't say it's one-sided because every game has been close. Grandview has a little bit of an advantage 3-1 in the series, but man, they've been some fantastic games.
We have seen some outstanding games. And of course, when you get down to this time of the year in the playoffs and, this championship series, it becomes about defense. And that's where everything starts for the Grandview Vikings. They have one tough defense, or when you look at where they rank nationally in defensive categories, they're near the top in almost all of them. You get to this time of year, running game becomes very important. They run the ball well. But hey, Lindsey Wilson's no slouch when it comes to running the ball either. And it starts with Devontae Saunders for the Blue Raiders. He's going to have a big game today, I believe.
There are so many things that you can look at with these two teams playing today. There's um, so many, I guess, elements that are going up against one another. You got a great offense in Lindsey Wilson against a great defense with Grandview. There's special teams. Both teams take pride in their special teams. Both teams will promote the fact that they're physical football teams. There's just so many underlying elements to this that makes today going to be so much fun.
Well, and we kind of felt like we would might be going where it's just a tad bit warmer this weekend, but it didn't work out that way. And I think this team has accepted that challenge, realizing that hey, Grandview, defending national champions, and they're on a 25 game winning streak, and Lindsey Wilson would like to do nothing more than to end that streak right here today in the middle of Des Moines.
Let's take a look at the football championship series, Bob, and the outcome for one of the games, one of the four games around the NAI was decided a couple of days ago when the NAI announced that Marion University was going to be dismissed from the football championship series after playing an eligible player last week in their win over Dort. So Kaiser sits at home today down in West Palm. I'm sure they've got everything tuned into all three games. We're just wondering who's coming to West Palm Beach next weekend. It's a pretty significant advantage for them.
Yeah, it really is. You got guys banged up this time of year, and you can do a lot of prep work. When you only have three teams that there's obviously there's six teams they could place, but you're really looking at maybe three or four. You get a lot of pre-work done, and then as you said, sit back, watch today's games, and then wait for the announcement later tonight as to who's going to travel down to Southern Florida. But it's going to be a fun day of college football in the NAIA.
Number one, Grandview. Number seven, Lindsey Wilson here today. It's a noon kickoff. The other two games are after us. So number four, Friends, is hosting Benedictine at 1 o'clock. That's a couple of teams from Kansas that are in different conferences. They don't play each other very often. It ought to be an interesting matchup. You've got a Friends team that is leading the nation in rushing and just that's where they hang their hat is running the football. You got Benedictine who likes to throw it around some. That's going to be an interesting game. And the other game is a 2 o'clock kickoff. Conference foes, Montana Tech and College of Idaho meet for the second time this season. Montana Tech won the first meeting earlier this year in a close game. So quarterfinals, it's just a little disappointing to me that Marion and Kaiser can't play today because you just love the scoreboard watching of the four quarterfinal games, and unfortunately, we're only going to get three today, but they're going to be three good ones.
They are going to be three good ones, and yeah, it's just too bad for the Marion squad and those folks. Disappointing, I'm sure, for the guys on the team, but just happens to be some sort of a clerical error overlooked detail, and that just goes to show you got to pay attention to everything that's going on around you. Was going to think that was going to be a pretty good football game, but nonetheless, we got a great one here today. You're absolutely right. We'll let you know what's happening in the other two contests, and I am excited to be back in Des Moines, Iowa. It always seems like it's cold here. It always seems like it's windy here. And, this is our, what, third trip
Third trip,
overall.
yeah.
And for 2 out of 3, we've got a lot of snow on the ground.
That's exactly right. And the other thing is for the first time since we've traveled out here, we get to do this from the indoors. The other two times we were out in the stands, which first time it was brutal. The second time it was a little bit better, but windy. But today we're inside. But
Now,
you may hear us echoing a little bit.
a little bit. The other thing is don't think we're spoiled, folks, because there's no in the press box.
Well, there is.
Their own heater, but
It is. It's chilly.
not looking for firewood earlier. I thought we might build one in the back here.
28 degrees is our temperature right now. We are under a winter weather advisory. It's supposed to come in later in the afternoon, maybe around the third or fourth quarter. They don't expect anything like they got here last week, where they were having to plow the every 5 yard line. They had to run run shovels across it just to make sure they could see
Yes.
the hash marks, things of that nature. But it's not going to get much warmer, and it feels like temperature is 20 degrees. There is a little bit of a breeze out there as well, which makes things that much worse. And there's no sun. It's a very cloudy, overcast day. It's just man, it's cold, and the players will, I'm sure, will be bundled up. Bob, is that an advantage for Grandview because of the weather? Obviously, they're used to this a little bit more than the Lindsey Wilson is.
They are used to it, but I tell you what, things haven't been all that warm back in Kentucky
That's
this
right.
past week. So, when talking to Coach Kleckler offline during the trip, he said that we got to face a lot of this similar type weather during this week back in Columbia. So therefore, it's not like they've been practicing in 40 and 50-degree weather and then travel out here to get into the 30s, even down below 30s into the upper 20s as it is right now. So I think that I don't know if that's much of an advantage. Grandview would like to think it is. These are Midwestern kids, or they're not kids, they're young men who know they can brave the elements. But I don't think Lindsey Wilson's going to let that bother them a whole lot.
35 minutes away from kickoff. We're just getting going here in our pregame show. Alongside Bob Boone, I'm Chris Wells. Addie Bennett back in the WAIN studios. It's Lindsey Wilson and Grandview. We're going to take a 1-minute break. When we come back, we'll break down the Vikings of Grandview University. This is Blue Raider Football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network.
Now it's time to meet your NAIA FCS quarterfinal projected start for your Grandview Vikings. Brought to you by Des Moines Orthopedic Clinic. Nate Timmons, Seth Jr., Iowa, Christian Solar, Hawaii, Iowa. That's one. James Wartek on Iowa. Del Van Pelt, Xavier, Iowa. Dean Van Pelt. Corey Phillips, James, Iowa. Diane. Owen Thompson, Johnson, Iowa. Hugh. Isaiah Timothy, Mars, Iowa. Tristan Williams, Dallas, Texas. Wide receiver. Jackson Waring, Union, Iowa. Quarterback. Jackson Farrell, Iowa. Colin Simpson, Burlington, Iowa. Defensive tackle. Cameron Mislin, Bondurant, Iowa. Defensive tackle. Jason Trudeau, Van Iowa. Defensive. Michael Banks, linebacker. Maybe John Argo, Davenport, Iowa. Tackle. Clay Cheating, Davenport, Iowa. Linebacker. Trace Davis, Norwalk,
Back to Mediacom Stadium in Des Moines, Iowa. Lindsey Wilson and Grandview here this afternoon. Bob, let's take a look at the Vikings. They come in number one in the country. You mentioned it earlier. They have not lost a game in 2 years. They've won 25 straight. They are the defending national champions. 176 wins, 39 losses all time. Started football back in 2008. 11-0 this season. 7-0. They won the Heart of America North Division, and it's the seventh, I think the seventh, maybe the ninth straight conference championship for the Vikings. E.J. Peterson is their head coach, first-year head coach, but he's been with the program for the last 7 years. He was defensive coordinator prior to that, kind of same way that Phil Kleckler took over after the change in head coaching here at Lindsey Wilson. He was elevated from the DC position. Peterson was an All-American, played here at Grandview as well. They have some good wins this season. They've beaten number 4 Benedictine at the very beginning of the season, 27-24. They beat William Penn, who was ranked 20th at the time, 41-9, and then beat last week number 19 St. Francis in a drubbing, 62-20. But other than that, that's the only ranked teams that they have played this season. And if you look at it, the only teams that they played this season that made the playoffs is the first team they played, Benedictine and St. Francis. So that is, I don't, yeah, no, William Penn made it. They just lost. They actually won a game in the first round and lost in the second round. So they have played 3 teams in the football championship series this season. I think this is the 6th team Lindsey Wilson will have played in the football championship series. Again, they're the defending national champions. Their last loss was back on December 2nd, 2023. They lost to College of Idaho 31-17. Let's first take a look at their offense, Bob, and it starts with Jackson Waring. He's the Heart of America North Division Player of the Year. It's the 3rd straight year that he's won that honor. Dual threat guy. He's thrown for almost 2,200 yards, 31 touchdowns, but he's also ran for 350 yards and 5 touchdowns. So you got to be cognizant of whether he's going to tuck it and run or drop back and pass, because he has some good receivers to throw to, but he can also take off and run.
Yeah, it's not that he's a big scrambler, but it's just the nature of their offense. They run some RPO type stuff where, he will take off and run. He's a big kid, 6'3", 228. Played at Illinois State prior to transferring here. This is his second season at Grandview and obviously helped lead that team to the national championship. So he is a tremendous athlete. You're going to have to tackle him and tackle well today. I think that's going to be one of the keys. Cold weather, you got to get 11 angry blue helmeted Raiders to the football, and you've got to tackle well, starting with the quarterback wearing.
The offense averages 43 points a game. That's 11th best in the country. They average 436 total yards of offense. That's 17th best in the country. So the numbers don't just jump off the page at you, Bob. They're not. It's almost the exact opposite of what Lindsey Wilson faced last week with Indiana Wesleyan, where they went immediately to the line of scrimmage. It was a lot of tempo, tempo, tempo. We're going to see Grandview get into the huddle, and they're going to try to grind it out. And that's their style of football.
And shorten the game.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So you're going to have limited possessions if you're Lindsey Wilson. That's something they have, I think, game plan for. You got to realize you might get two less possessions or so, on a game like this than you would in a normal situation where teams that go to use the sugar huddle or go straight to the line of scrimmage. So yeah, that will shorten the game and it'll make a difference. So the Blue Raiders have got to take advantage of offensive possessions against a very stingy Grandview defense. Their offense is predicated on moving the ball up and down the field and running out, running time off of the clock. And the Blue Raiders have got to work hard to get off the field.
57 points is what Lindsey Wilson put up last week. There's a better than good chance that we won't see 57 total points here this afternoon because of what Bob was just mentioning. Defensively, John Argo is the Hart North Division Defensive Player of the Year. Fantastic year, 84 tackles, 12 and a half tackles for a loss. This is one of those teams where year in and year out, Bob, they are so good in their front seven, especially at that linebacking, that second level. And Argo is just another example of the talent that they have on the defensive side of the football.
And based on what we've learned from the Lindsey Wilson coaching staff and stuff, they realize that too. This front seven could be the best front seven they've faced all season. Does that mean Lindsey Wilson changes up their game plan? Well, don't be surprised. I think you're going to see the Blue Raiders maybe take some shots down the field, open things up a little bit so that they can't just pack 7 guys, 8 guys up on the line of scrimmage to shut down Devontae Saunders and the run. So we'll see how that plays out. But I think Lindsey Wilson feels like they can take some shots against this Viking defense.
Got one, two, three, four, 5 guys, first team, all conference on this defensive side of the football. 4 or 3 more on the second team. Jackson Filer, I'm sorry, 14 tackles for a loss this season. We mentioned Argo with 12 and a half. Casey Trudeau, another D line guy who's got 6 tackles for a loss, 4 sacks. So they're just up and down the line. They're a very, very good and talented defensive unit that plays really well together, and it's going to be a challenge today, no doubt about it.
It will be a challenge, and I think the guys that are going to have to respond to that challenge for the Blue Raiders are the offensive line up front. They come in, they're down a man, as we know, so that they're a little bit behind the 8 ball, but this unit has performed pretty well all year and opened up big holes for Devontae Saunders. The thing I look back at last week's game, Chris, is that Blue Raiders put up 57 points, and they didn't have a big breakaway run like you're used to seeing Devontae or even Stephen Mack. Any one of our 3 running backs that the Blue Raiders put out there are capable of breaking a big run at any time. But Indiana Wesleyan did a good job of preventing the big play. Can the Blue Raiders get a couple of big runs today? I think that's going to be predicated on the passing game. How well the passing game works. Can they set up the run to free Saunders up and make some big runs downfield?
This Grandview defense allows just 13 points a game, third best in the nation. Uh, Looking at their schedule on the season, the most points that they've given up all season long was 28, and that was to Mid American Nazarene in a 32-28 win. So they are accustomed to keeping the opponents at bay. They only give up 277 yards per game, which is eighth best in the country. Of course, Lindsey Wilson, one of the better offensive teams in the NAI. So that's why we're looking at the strength versus strength thing. It's going to be fun to watch here this afternoon, and I'm sure that this defense for Grandview is going to key number one on Saunders. I think they feel like if they can stop Lindsey Wilson from running the football, it's going to be a successful day for them.
Yeah, and I believe that talking to the coaching staff for Lindsey Wilson, they feel like that's what Grandview's going to come out here and try to do. So don't be surprised if we see some different things from the Blue Raiders to try and mix that up a little bit and force them to get some guys out of that box up on the line of scrimmage and play more pass defense than what they're used to playing.
25 minutes away from kickoff here in Des Moines, Iowa, on a cold and just bitter afternoon. Expected some snow later in the afternoon as well. We're going to step away for 1 minute. When we come back, we'll break down the Blue Raiders. This is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network.
Remember, proud sponsor, Select Therapy. Whether you've set personal goals or just making your health and well-being a priority, Select Physical Therapy is here for you. Select Physical Therapy is your trusted physical therapy partner for recovering from aches and pains, gaining strength, and preventing injury. There's no better time to make Select Physical Therapy's movement experts part of your healthcare team. To learn more about the benefits of physical therapy and get on the road to recovery and wellness, schedule an appointment today at selectphysicaltherapy.com. Experience the power of physical therapy today. Well, yeah, the stretch in between it. Yeah. Well, it would look like this and have no thing.
Back to MediaCom Stadium in Des Moines, Iowa. Lindsey Wilson and Grandview getting set for one of three quarterfinal games going on around the NAIA today with the semifinal berth on the line. Let's take a look at Lindsey Wilson. 137 wins, 44 losses all time. Started football back in 2010. This is the 16th season of Lindsey Wilson football. Blue Raiders 10-1 on the year. Won the Mid-South Conference regular season with a 5-1 record. They are the number 7 seed in the NAIA Football Championship Series. Phil Kleckler in his fourth season as a head coach, 32 wins, 10 losses in his ninth season at Lindsey Wilson overall. Blue Raiders have beaten number 20 Texas Wesleyan to open the season. They beat number 8 St. Thomas. Both those teams made the playoffs. They beat Reinhardt on the road. It's another playoff team. They beat Campbell's, or they lost to Campbellsville 34-31, the lone setback on the season on the road. And that's the fourth team that the Blue Raiders have faced in the playoff that's in the playoffs. And then last week was Indiana Wesleyan, the number 10 team, just absolutely blitzed them 57-31 after being down 24-0 in the late in the second quarter. So Grandview is going to be the sixth team that's in these football championship series. While there's only 20 teams that make it, Lindsey Wilson's played almost a third of them. That could serve them really well today.
Yes, I couldn't agree more with you. I think the fact that this is a Blue Raider team that has been battle tested and maybe, why you think, okay, they've only lost one game and, they played all these teams and yet they're ranked. A lot of that had to do with where they started in the rankings and it's just they slowly built their way up. I think they are better than the seventh ranked team in the nation right now based on who they play. But that is, it's just how the system works currently in the NAIA. Not complaining about it whatsoever, but I think you got to be careful because a lot of people would look and say, "Oh, 7 versus 1, probably not going to be much of a game." I feel like it's going to be much of a game. We talked off air about how, you know, maybe being the underdog is a bit of an advantage, but I don't know that these Blue Raiders feel like they are coming
Yeah.
in as an underdog in this contest today.
I agree with you. Need a solid start. You can't have what you had last week and feel like you can come back against a team like Grandview that's going to, like you said earlier, grind it out and is so good defensively. You don't have to have, a lot of times I'll talk about a fast start. I don't think you have to have that. You just got to have a solid start today.
Yeah, excellent point. Solid start is good. Last week I think that the Blue Raiders were a little bit shell shocked when they saw what had been the I was number one running back from a year ago come back, and all of a sudden he didn't look like he ever missed a beat. He had fresh legs, and he ran the ball well, and the Blue Raiders didn't have an answer for him. They came up with one in the second half. I think today it's going to be a little bit different in that they know what to expect today out of this offense. They know who they're going up against. And I just look for our defense to come out and play solid football, especially, from the first whistle.
Offensively, last week I said I thought third downs were going to be critical. I think first down is going to be pretty big today.
Got to win first down. Can't be behind the chains. You got to make sure that you're moving the ball. And I think that is going to be critical. My other key to the game, and we do that later on, is going to talk about a lot about special teams because in cold weather, special teams, I think, kickers, their feet get cold. We were sitting there watching them warm up, and we're like, man, that's got to hurt.
Yeah.
Booting that frozen football, if you will, on special teams the way it is. So, yeah, I think, though, you're absolutely right. I think winning first down is going to be the key to the game on both sides of the football, both offensively and
And we
defensively.
talk about all the time winning the battle of the trenches, especially in a big game where, you have ranked team versus ranked team or quality team versus quality, however you want to assess it. I think today the Blue Raider offensive line is going to face their stiffest challenge of the season, and we'll see. And you already mentioned Preston Parks is not here. We wish him the very best if he's listening to us back home. I think the offensive line is going to potentially play a critical part of today's game. They usually do, but I think even more so today.
Yeah, because when you think of Midwest football, Iowa, you almost think of this as, it's just part of the football culture in this part of the country. You have big, strong, physical young men out there, and that's what the Vikings provide up front defensively. But you know what? Blue Raiders have got some pretty big, young, strong, physical offensive linemen that have been known to push people around a little bit. We can say, well, the Blue Raiders haven't seen a defense like this. I'm not sure that Grandview has seen an offense, and especially an offensive line, as good as what the Blue Raiders will put out there today.
That's why it's so fun with these matchups. Just the analysis of it all, and then actually watching it take place as it goes on. One final thing about the offense. Obviously, we talked about Grandview trying to slow Saunders down last week. Tate Rice had a coming out party. It took him a little while to get going, but he's got to be in control from the outset in today's game.
He really does. And I was impressed last week. Tate Rice did a fantastic job, especially when you saw the Blue Raiders running those crossing routes. When you put number 7 or number 8 running across the field, 10, 15 yards downfield, those guys, and Tate was spot on. He's throwing darts to those guys, catching, they're able to catch the ball in full stride and turn it into a big game. Look for some more of that today because uh, I think Tate found his comfort zone, if you will. And one of the keys to that was last week was the time he had to
Yeah.
throw the football. Gonna need that out of this offensive line once again today.
Yeah.
They gotta give Tate Rice time, and if he has time, he can make some hay out there.
Yeah, we got to get to a break here in just a sec because I wanted you to hear Coach Collector's comments. But lastly, on Lindsey Wilson, the games that Grandview were in tight battles all year long was games where they turned the ball over. Lindsey Wilson had 6 takeaways last week, and that could be another huge element to this game. Obviously, turnovers always are, but the Blue Raiders, they kind of like sharks. They smell blood in the water when it comes to taking the ball away. And last week was obviously a big day. If they can even half of that today would go a long way in pulling off this win.
Indeed, it would. And, it just turned into a feeding frenzy, especially for Caleb Bridges last week. And, he's thinking, man, I hope I have another game. I would think Grandview is going to realize we probably ought not throw to that guy. But we'll see how that plays out. But you're right. Special teams, or I'm sorry, turnovers are going to play a huge role in this game today.
16 minutes before kickoff. We're going to take a 30-second break, Addie, just a 30-second break here because we got to get to the pregame thoughts of Lindsey Wilson football coach Phil Kleckler. So back in 30, this is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. To Mediacom Stadium as Lindsey Wilson gets set to take on Grandview in the national quarterfinals, sitting alongside Lindsey Wilson football coach Phil Kleckler. Coach, what's the excitement level getting ready to play number one, defending national champions? You mentioned last night they haven't lost a game in 2 years. What's the sense of your team?
Yeah, I think the excitement level was, from the very beginning when it was announced who we were playing. I got a chance to, not in person, share with our team. Obviously, we were all kind of scattered across the wind after the big win last week. But when I'm at home and learn who our opponent's going to be and all that, and kind of through our team messaging system, share with them what an opportunity to go play a really good football team, number one team in the country, defending national champions, yada yada yada, all those things. Just really excited for that opportunity, and and I shared that with our team, and then I felt that during practice, during the week, and all that with our players. Just really excited to be playing this time of year, and wanna play a good ball game here today.
Played this team 4 times basically in 10 years. It's amazing how Lindsey and Grandview have met up so many times in the playoffs. Every one of them has been a one-score game. You expect the same tomorrow?
Yeah, one score game in favor of the Blue Raiders. Correct. I think it's been 3 out of the last 5 years here. 21 through 25, so it's been pretty recent. I was kind of thinking in my head, we've kind of had a home and home in 21, 22, and we'll take a home and home with them here next year, with that situation. But they've had some coaching changes, but their identity and all those things are still the same. It's kind of in their DNA. I'm sure people said the same thing, about us, at the beginning of my head coaching tenure here. So, it's a really good program, really good players. Have an identity. We know what that identity is going to be. Obviously we have ours as well, and we'll play our strengths into their weaknesses, just like they're going to do the same thing for us. So, it's going to be a battle here today.
Let's talk about the weather for just a moment. And I know once the ball's in the air, weather's out the window unless a blizzard rolls in like it did last week. We don't expect that here today. But you still have to be prepared because it's so. I see so many times when cold weather student athletes don't intake water like they should. They cramp up, things of that nature. I know you talked about with your guys about the weather.
Yeah, I think just looking at the week, I made a point to look at the weather here, what the forecast was every single day, but then I would see what the current temperature was every single day. And, they were practicing in some pretty brutal conditions in the teens, some things we weren't battling. So, it will feel like a heat wave for them, in terms of that. But I think, we've kind of practiced in the same conditions here all week where it's been 32, 34 degrees, little bit of wind, all those different types of things. So, don't think it's going to be a major factor for us in terms of not anything that we've prepared for or anything like that.
Back in 30 with Coach Kleckler. This is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network.
for segment number 2 with Lindsey Wilson, football coach Phil Clark before the Blue Raiders take on Grandview. Coach, watching the video, they're a very physical team.
Yeah, we're a physical team as well, but I think the big thing that stood out to me right away was just their size.
Yeah.
We just don't see offensive linemen like that, down in the South and those things. So, I think their size jumped out right away, from that standpoint. And then, are pretty athletic in their defensive front for how big they are too, in terms of their movement and some of those things too. So, but I think at the same time they probably look at our video and they say, well, the speed and some of the things that we have going for us, they haven't seen as well. So there'll probably be a little bit of some adjustment there, and we can't simulate to our defensive line how big they're going to be and how some of those guys are going to do. So, but we've had some guys that have played in our front seven in some playoff games. Not many of them, but a couple. Cameron Rankins and Darius Moore and some guys like that. So, they're ready for it and built for it, and we'll take the game as it goes here.
Jackson Waring is a 3-time Hart North Player of the Year. He's kind of he wants to throw. I mean, you look at his numbers, at least statistically. He's thrown the ball 250 times on the year. He's also ran it 71 times, so he's kind of a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah, and I think one of the first things you do when you learn about one before you get the videos, you look at the stats and all that. And I was actually, knowing that he was a pretty mobile quarterback, I was shocked that his rushing yards weren't as high as what they were. And then as you do a little bit more research, they actually ran him more last year during the playoff run. And then you turn on the playoff video and they got snow, and what are they doing? They're running with him. So, so those things come into play with that. And, we know that he can beat us with his feet and his arm, and we got to respect that. And just a really good player. And again, nothing has changed with what we want to do defensively. We want to keep them in the pocket. We want to, force them into second and longs and third and longs and all those things and keep the ball in front of us. And, it'll be a little different too because they huddle, and the pace is definitely going to be a lot different than it was a week ago when you got Indiana Wesleyan doing some tempo and all those different types of things. So there's just always challenges week to week that you have to adjust and game plan for and talk about with the players, and that wasn't any different here this week.
Is that something that you welcome, that slowing down?
It was just something we had to simulate in practice, the huddle and the clapping, and then, being lined up based on where the tight end is and some kind of pro style, unconventional stuff that you don't necessarily do against some more wide open rushing attack or offensive attacks, I should say. So just some things we had to simulate and do here in practice to make sure our guys were ready to go.
Defensively, they're always good, and they really seem like every year they're really good in that second level, the linebacking core. Is that the same thing this year, or do you see it differently?
Yeah, I think their front seven is definitely a big strength for them. And they have really good players in the secondary too. Number 4, number 5, those safeties are really good players. But they haven't really faced a wide open attack like that we have. I was really surprised. One of the first games I watched was, I think, their second game of the year. Maybe it was their first and Benedictine's second game of the year. And I thought Benedictine would have opened it up a little bit more, and they were a little conservative, in terms of pass game. They were kind of more run and play action type stuff. So, I think we're going to try to take advantage of that today and be a little bit more wide open. Hopefully no one from their team is listening to that here, but, we have some things kind of up our sleeve that we feel really good about, and it gives us an advantage here to move the football and score.
Back at 30 with Coach Clarkley. This is Blue Raider Football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. Back to MediaCom Stadium as Lindsey Wilson gets set to take on Grandview in the national quarterfinals. Coach, let's talk about the Blue Raiders for a moment. And I don't know if we will ever really know. I think you have your theories. I have mine. I'm sure everybody has other theories. Why such a slow start last week, considering we've been fast starts pretty much all year long? But Now that you got that under your belt, do you feel like it'll be more of the norm that we see from Lindsey Wilson throughout the year?
I hope so. We need to start this game fast and really kind of show them that this might not be what they think it's going to be, and just some of the vibes. And there's just probably not a lot of many people outside Blue Raider Nation that thinks we can win this football game today. And we've done a really good job here all season, and we've played a very tough schedule. This will be our sixth playoff team we've played here out of the field of nine. Count us, without us, that we played. So that's close to a third of the playoff field that we're playing. We don't have to beat everybody. We just got to beat the teams that are on our schedule, and we've done that pretty well so far here. So, but yeah, we got to start fast. And I don't think it was anything specific we did with the schedule or anything. It was probably just a little bit of just not a whole lot of our roster had played in a playoff game and coming off a layoff and all those different types of things. But I think once we did put our foot on the gas and go, we went pretty dang good. 7 runs. So it was pretty dang good. So, we just gotta play our brand of football and how we want to play the game and dictate it, and not allow them to dictate the tempo and those types of things.
You said a few minutes ago, you talked about your speed of this team. Do you feel like that's an advantage?
Yeah, I think it's an advantage most of the times we play. It's something we look for when we recruit, and athleticism and speed kills. So, I think that's going to be a big factor, and that's a strength of our team. And I do think we're a faster team. We're not as big as they are, but we are faster than them. So we got to use that to our advantage here today.
How do you combat the size on their offensive line with your defensive line? Is it utilizing that speed?
Yeah, it's just movement, and one guy starts somewhere, and then when the ball's snapped, he's not there anymore, and so utilizing that movement. And we know we got to be a little bit more aggressive to stop the run in terms of some run blitzing and those different types of things. And we're going to do that here today. And I personally like that mentality, and that's a good mentality to have against a team like this. And I think it's going to pay dividends for us here today.
We talked about third down last week. What's the important? They're all important, obviously. First down is to me that's a critical.
Probably so. I think we got to stay out of third and shorts, and just because you talked about it with their quarterback and how he can kind of outnumber you in the run game with running the football. So we got to try to make him beat us through the air and not beat us with his feet. So I think you hit it right on the head in terms of early down starts and those types of things.
Other keys to the game?
Turnover, takeaways. I mean, I could go on and on about the list of the formula of how we win games here. So, but just really excited to play this game and have this opportunity, and we're looking forward to it.
Coach, good luck today.
I appreciate it.
That's LWC. Head football coach Phil Collector before the Blue Raiders take on Grandview. We're back in 30 seconds. This is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network.
Mediacom Stadium in Des Moines, Iowa. Lindsey Wilson and Grandview are about 3 minutes away from kickoff. Let's go take a look at the all-time series. Grandview leads at 3-1. They're 2-0 here in Des Moines. First time these two teams played were back in 2015. Blue Raiders were ranked 13th in the country, Grandview third, and a 16-13 Grandview win sent them on into the playoffs. Lindsey Wilson, a year later, won their only meeting, and it was at home, 34-27 over Grandview. The two teams met again in 2021. Lindsey Wilson was ranked number 1. Grandview was number 3. Blue Raiders were on the doorstep. 34-28 was ultimately the loss, as Blue Raiders had 4th and goal from the 2-yard line and failed to get in. And then in 2022, same scenario. It was 10-7. Lindsey Wilson was on the doorstep again, getting ready to head into the end zone, but a pass was short of the goal line, and time ran out on the Blue Raiders, and they lost that game 10-7. So the all-time series is 3-1. The all-time scoring, Grandview leads at 87-82. That kind of shows you how close these games have been throughout the series. of Lindsey Wilson and Grandview. We don't expect anything any different today. Our officials today are Bob Bergen. Rudy Everson is our umpire. Bob Bergen's the referee. Bob Palmer Jr. is the linesman. Line judge is Micah Hagerman. Side judge Michael McFall. Field judge James Leach. And Darren Spinninger is our back judge. They are from the Kansas Collegiate Athletic Conference. So those are the KCAC officials for today. Lindsey Wilson, all white today. White tops, white pants. All time when Lindsey Wilson wears that uniform combination, they're 29-6, 1-0 this season. Grandview in a red top, white pants, a white helmet with a GV, their logo on the side. Bob, let's go through the coin toss and captains.
All right, Chris, thank you very much for the Blue Raiders. Pryor Lamb, junior quarterback out of Paducah, Kentucky, played at McCracken County. Cameron Rankins is the second captain, linebacker, grad student out of Hartsville, Tennessee, played at Trousdale County. Darius Moore, grad student from Morganfield, Union County, is the third captain and not in uniform today. And this could be one of the keys about today's game is Seth Phillips, the fourth captain for the Blue Raiders. He was out there, but as I said, not in uniform. Just two captains for Grandview, Jackson Fowler out of Des Moines, Iowa, defensive lineman senior, and John Argo, who is from Davenport, Iowa, junior linebacker. Blue Raiders won the toss. They deferred, and thus we will see the Grandview offense to get things started. Blue Raiders lined up, kicking it left to right. Chris?
Quickly, your keys, Bob.
Keys, first downs, turnovers, and just fast start. Fast start, fast start. We've talked about all those things.
Jaden Burns puts the toe to the ball. It hits at about the 12-yard line, picked up at the 9, comes out to the 15 to the 20, upended across the 20-yard line at the 22. And the Blue Raider kick coverage team does its job and holds them behind the 25-yard line. And that's where Grandview will send out their offensive unit for this afternoon. Jackson Waring is their Heart of America's North Division Player of the Year. 140 completions on 249 attempts, a 562 completion percentage, nearly 2,200 yards, 31 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions on the season. He will start under center. Dalton Van Pelt in the backfield. He'll fake the handoff, and Waring going to throw it. Comes up top, wide open, and caught at the 42-yard line. That's Isaiah Toki. And one play, one first down for Grandview.
Yeah, I had all kinds of time to throw the ball. Blue Raiders didn't rush any extras, and it showed there. A lot of patience back there for the quarterback Waring. Waited until he found his man.
Offensive line, Nate Timmons, Ethan Alvarado, Ryan Sadler, Christian Stoller, and James Wartick on that offensive line for Grandview. Waring fakes the handoff and then goes the other direction. He gets about 3, maybe 4 yards as he's shoved out of bounds. Let's see where they eventually mark it at the 46-yard line, I believe is where they're going to mark it. So a gain of 3 yards will bring up second down and 7. The rest of the starting lineup for Grandview offense, Dalton Van Pelt, the running back, Corey Phillips, the tight end, Jordan Kuhn, Isaiah Toki, and Tristan Williams are the wide receivers. Again, Grandview, I wouldn't be able to do that last week with Indiana Wesleyan, but they huddle. That gives me a chance to tell you their starting lineup. Waring in the shotgun. Van Pelt goes in motion. There's the snap. He drops back looking to throw. Drops it off in the flat to a wide open Van Pelt. He's got it across midfield and out of bounds at the Lindsey Wilson 44-yard line. Defensively for the Blue Raiders, Easley Cornelius the third. Darius Moore, Torrey Churchill on that D-line. Taya Everly, Cameron Rankins, Jamarcus Frank as the linebackers. Sammy Taylor, Caleb Bridges, Chevis Elliott, Howie Gant, and Lee Leviston in the secondary for the Blue Raiders. First down and 10. Ball on the Lindsey Wilson 46-yard line. 13:30 left in this first quarter. Waring goes under center. He'll take the snap. Hands it off to Van Pelt. He breaks it outside, and he's got all kinds of running room. He's one-on-one, and he gets shoved out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. Saving the touchdown for the Blue Raiders was Bridges. Nope, that was Howie Gant who made the stop. And Grandview, just like that, looking to punch it into the end zone, 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line.
Well, the Blue Raiders definitely, have 3 guys up front and not getting any penetration whatsoever. But so far, everything seems to be wide open on the edges for this Grandview offense and taking advantage of it there.
Bryant Williams checks into the backfield for Grandview, wearing in the shotgun. Williams to his left, looking to throw, comes outside. It's caught at the 10-yard line and pushed out of bounds. Making the catch is Tristan Williams, his 16th catch of the season. It'll be a 4-yard gain as they'll mark it just shy of the 10-yard line at the 11, brings up 2nd down at 6.
Grandview, a very basic uniform today, white bottoms, red tops, no markings whatsoever on their uniform. White helmets with a red stripe and the red GV logo on the side.
Wind blowing from the Lindsay sideline to the Grandview sideline. Not heavy wind, but enough to irritate you when it's already cold outside. Phillips goes in motion. Waring going to keep it on a quarterback keeper. He gets out on the edge where he's hit, and Blue Raiders stuff him before he can get to the yard to gain, I believe. Let's see where they ultimately mark him down. Nope, they're going to say he's into the 4. He waited all the way down to the 4-yard line, so it's going to be a 1st down. It's going to be 1st and goal from the 4 for Grandview.
Good second effort by Waring. We talked about his size, 6'3", 228. He's a big kid, and it's going to take more than one Blue Raider to bring him down.
1st and goal from the 4, 11:40 left in this opening quarter. Grandview has marched right down the field. Ethan Schultz checks into the lineup in the backfield. That's the 3rd back we've seen. Waring in the gun, takes the snap, drops back, deep drop, throws it up top, and diving for its Toki, and it's incomplete. The first incomplete pass of the day for Waring. He was 3 for 3 prior to that.
Yeah, had a receiver wide open across the back edge of the end zone, but just led him way too far out beyond the outstretched arm. So break there for the Blue Raiders.
Brings up 2nd down and goal from the 4-yard line. Clock stops on the incomplete pass. 11 minutes, 23 seconds left in this first quarter. Waring's going to go under center this time. Van Pelt back into the game. Lone back in the backfield, about 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Waring goes under center, takes the snap, hands it off to Van Pelt. He comes up to the right side, and he's going to be stopped shy of the goal line at the 1-yard line. So he got 3 yards. Trying to see who that was that made the touchdown saving tackle. It may have been Gann again, as wholesale substitutions for Grandview. They're bringing some big bodies into the game.
As do the Blue Raiders. They're going to put their jumbo defensive package out there.
So it's big on big here. 3rd and goal from the 1. Waring under center.
2 linemen in the backfield lined up as fullbacks for Grandview.
And the Blue Raiders going to have to use a timeout. First time out of the game for Lindsey Wilson, or first time out for the first half. They'll be down to 2 the rest of this half. We'll keep you right here. 10 minutes, 48 seconds left.
Mentioned the 2 linemen checking into the ball game there. That was Nate Timmons along with Joseph Cifuentes. Both listed as offensive linemen, but lined up on the left side. Blue Raiders didn't like the look of it, so they call timeout.
8 plays, 76-yard drive ongoing, 1 yard away from the end zone on 3rd and goal from the 1. You got to think if Grandview feels pretty confident that they can get 1 yard in 2 downs. If they don't make it here, they'll probably go for it once again. So the Blue Raiders, tough task with that Grandview offensive line as big as it is. And now you add 2 more in the backfield. That's 7 offensive linemen you got to contend with. 10:48 left.
Peyton McNeely, he's 6'5", 325. You've got Christian Stoller, who's 6'3", 330.
There's the snap, handoff Van Pelt. He dives up top, and he's into the end zone. He actually rolled on the back of the offensive line into the end zone. He got stopped from the beginning, but he just rolled across the backs of his offensive linemen, and he gets into the end zone for the 7th time this season. 6-0 our score. Grandview on top with 10:44 left in this opening quarter. Corey Wood, 61 of 64 on extra points this season, comes on to attempt the extra point. High snap. Kick is on its way up, and it is good. 7-0 our score, 10:44 left. We're back in 30 seconds. This is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. Seven nothing our score. Grandview on top of Lindsey Wilson. They go 9 plays, 77 yards, takes 4 minutes and 12 seconds off the clock. Dalton Van Pelt with a 1-yard touchdown run, his 7th of the season, and Grandview on top, 7-0. They will kick it off. They have some interesting names, some radio names that you just love. This one's my favorite, though. He kicks off for the Vikings. It's Kungalo Wemakambe. That's a good name.
He's also a little bit psychotic out there in his shorts as he's wearing the Daisy Duke football shorts, something we're starting to see more and more of.
An over-end kick, and it's going to be taken at the 5-yard line by the Blue Raiders, Byron Kirkland Lundy. He's got it at the 15, the 20, and it gets upended at about the 22-yard line. So the Blue Raiders will start their first series from about the 22-yard line. Tate Rice, the Mid-South Conference Offensive Freshman of the Year, 163 completions on 250 attempts, 65% completion rate. He's thrown for 2,300 yards, 28 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. Of course, he came on in game number 2 of the season after Pryor Lamb was injured down in Ave, and he has just been spectacular really all season long. Trip receivers lined out wide on the right side for the Blue Raiders. On an unbalanced set, Tay Saunders lines up to the right side of Rice. He'll take the handoff, sprints outside. He's got the 25 and out to about the 29-yard line where he's brought down by the Defensive Player of the Year in the heart, John Argo. Offensive line for the Blue Raiders is Luke Simmons, Shady Rankhorn, Wyatt Secord, Chase Murray, and Larry Montgomery. Cole Birch is the starting tight end and to replace Seth Phillips. Max Gainey, Adrian Bailey, Tyus Sherrard, the wide receivers, and Tay Saunders in the backfield. They'll spread out the defense here on 2nd down and 4, go 5 wide, empty set in the backfield. Rice drops back, rolls to his right, throws it. He's got a man. That's Gainey. He's got it at the 40 to the 45 and down at the 46-yard line. But there's a flag on the play, and was that? I think that's going to be roughing the passer. I believe. We'll see.
Well, they were giving chase to Tate Rice, and then I looked away to go downfield to see who he was looking for. So I didn't see it. You are correct. So that's going to tack
an additional 15.
Yes, sir.
So the first down was complete to the 46-yard line. Tack on another 15, and that's going to take the Blue Raiders into Grandview territory at the 39-yard line, 1st and 10, with 9:52 left in this opening quarter.
4-man front for Grandview. Of course, the guy that anchors that front line, Jackson Fowler, the defensive end. I was going to say on the previous play, the run by Devontae Saunders, it was a great job by Cole Birch to seal him up and allowed Saunders to get around the edge.
5 wide again for Lindsey Wilson on an empty set. Rice drops back, looks, throws, drops it off to Gainey right over the middle for a 2-yard completion. Not a lot there. It was actually a pretty good catch by Gainey. It was out in front of him just a bit. Down to the 37-yard line will bring up 2nd down and 8.
Keep an eye open on Tabari Reed. That play, he actually had one-on-one coverage downfield and had his man beaten. So see if the coaches in the booth next to us here to our right, they saw that same thing and maybe call that play here again in the very near future.
Trips to the left side as Saunders lines up in the backfield to the left side of Price, who's in the gun. Now they'll put Saunders in motion, a little counter play, and
That's the guy.
Argo with a tackle behind the line of scrimmage. And he kind of lifted up Saunders, and the officials didn't do anything about it. And that didn't set well with the Blue Raider offensive line.
Yeah, I believe that was actually Filer on the stop coming from that outside edge.
So that'll bring up third down.
He gets in the backfield in a hurry.
Third down, 9 to go. Lindsey Wilson's got to get to the 29-yard line.
Steven Mack has checked into the ball game, so two-back set now for the Blue Raiders.
Two receivers, two tight ends, two backs in the backfield. Saunders goes in motion. There's the snap. Handoff goes to Stephen Mack. He lowers his shoulder, and he's going to be stood up at the 36-yard line in Grandview.
Chris, that tells me the Blue Raiders planning on going for it here on fourth down. The fact that they run the ball, got it down to the 35. They need 6.
They will give them the 35-yard line. So Blue Raiders keeps their offensive unit out there. On the season, Lindsey Wilson on fourth down is 9 of 16, 56%. They got to get to the 29. 5 wide once again for the Blue Raiders. Rice in the shotgun, 4 down lineman for Grandview. Here they come after him. Rice, ball tapped up in the air, incomplete. It doesn't matter. It's going to be an incomplete pass. And it'll be a turnover on downs for the Blue Raiders. So Grandview stands.
Trying to hit Max Gainey on the crossing round. That ball, as you said, deflected. Fortunate for the Blue Raiders, nobody able to get to it from Grandview's side, but they are going to get the turnover on downs.
Yeah, it's actually a good thing for Grandview that it was incomplete. The guy who had the nearest shot at it was diving for it. If he comes up with it, they probably lose 8 yards.
Yeah.
Because they're going to take over at the line of scrimmage. So with 7:22 left, Grandview takes over, leading at 7-0. Waring in the shotgun. 2 receivers up top. Bryant Williams in the backfield, and there's a flag on the play.
We're going to have some sort of a substitution infraction, maybe. It wasn't delay a game. There was still 5 seconds on the play clock.
Nope, that's a false start on Grandview. So a 5-yard penalty will back them up to the 30-yard line.
Only thing I can imagine happening there was a lineman got up and put his hand in the turf, got set and lifted it up. They can move around a whole bunch as long as they keep the hand down.
First down, 15 to go. Ball on the 30, 7:22 left, first quarter. Waring in the gun this time. 2 receivers up top. He'll take the snap, hands it off to Williams, and he's met at the line of scrimmage and pushed backwards. Coming up and making the first hit was Cameron Barnett, the DB. And they'll give him 1 yard out to the 31, which is a generous spot. But we'll bring up second down and 14.
I didn't think he made it back to the 30 or just back to the 30 at best. But you're seeing Grandview line up in an unbalanced line. This time now they have a tight end. Before they had an extra tackle lined up on the left side.
3 receivers in the formation. Now they'll bring Toki in the backfield. Put 2 in the backfield. There's the snap. Fake handoff. Warrens drops back, drops it off to a wide open Williams in the flat. He's going to run up the sideline. Has the first down. I mean, wide open.
Yeah, these flats have been wide open for Grandview here in the early going. I'm not sure what the adjustment is, but somebody's got to be out there to cover that flat area for the Blue Raiders. They haven't done it yet this ball game.
Grandview's 6th first down of the afternoon, already leading at 7-0 with 6:20 left. 1st and 10 from the Grandview 47-yard line. Now Grandview goes 5 wide, Waring in the shotgun all alone in the backfield. He'll take the snap, drops back, looking, no pressure, throw, caught over the middle, and bringing it in is Peyton Good, his 7th reception of the season. He'll have it inside Lindsey Wilson territory at the 48-yard line. 6-yard gain will bring up second down and 4.
Defensive back Sam Taylor on the stop for the Blue Raiders. So as of right now, Lindsey Wilson not showing any kind of pressure. Look, satisfied to just rush three, drop back and play defense. But as we said, they've got to get those hook to curl zones out to the sidelines covered a little better.
Snap. Waring hands it off to Van Pelt. He cuts back up the middle where he's met by Barnett at the 46-yard line, and now they're going to give him the 45, and he didn't get to the 45, but they'll give it to him, and that's going to bring up 3rd down and 2.
Well, it was interesting because I'm sitting here watching the line judge on the far side, and he set up at the 46 and then just took one big step to the right.
He was looking at his counterpart on this sideline. So ball is nose of the ball on the 45-yard line of Lindsey Wilson, facing a 3rd down and 2. 1 for 1 on 3rd downs today is Grandview. They'll go 5 wide once again, Waring in the shotgun. Now he's going to change the play. 5 on the play clock. Now he's got to hurry down to 3, down to 2. There's the snap. Waring drops back, looking, throws it in behind his intended receiver. Good. And that's going to bring up 4th down. And the Blue Raiders going to force Grandview to punt.
Well, good stop there for the Blue Raiders. Bring on the punter, Corey Wood.
No, Braden Corey's
I'm sorry, yes.
averaging 39.4 yards per punt. Max Gainey stands back inside at his 10-yard line. High wobbly kick. Gainey going to fair catch it, and he'll make the catch at about the 13-yard line.
So the Blue Raiders got to stop and get the ball back after the punt. They got a long way to go, as you said. Ball on the 13-yard line of Lindsey Wilson, but defensively getting the job done this series. Now, can the offense take advantage and go down and get a score?
32-yard punt, no return. 4:33 left in this opening quarter, 7-0. Grandview with the lead. Lindsey Wilson defense holds, gives the ball back to the Blue Raiders offense. Stephen Mack will start in the backfield this series for the Blue Raiders. There's the snap. Handoff goes to Mack. He dances behind the line of scrimmage and then jets off to the left behind the left side of the offensive line and gets out to the 18-yard line. So a nice solid run of 4 yards will bring up 2nd down and 6.
Yeah, saw everything was bottled up inside. Made a cut to his left and was able to stretch that thing out just a little bit. Mack, 5'10", 200-pound junior, Hendersonville High School in Tennessee.
Saunders back in the game to the right side of Rice, who's in the gun. They'll drop it off to Saunders out of the backfield. He makes a cut, gets to the 20, and is shoved out of bounds across the 20 to the 22-yard line. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 2 on the 4-yard gain. Actually, it's going to be 3rd and 1.
I've been impressed with the speed sideline to sideline of this Grandview football defense. They really, especially from the backside, when you look at number 9, the defensive end we've talked about, Jackson Filer, he flies all over this field.
Blue Raiders 0 for 1 on 3rd downs today. 3:25, clock moving, big 3rd down coming up. Rice in the gun, Saunders in the backfield. They'll pitch it to Saunders, and he drops it. Falls on the turf, and he just has to fall on it, and it's going to be a sizable loss, and that's going to force a Lindsey Wilson punt. That is unfortunate because he had some running room out on that edge.
Fortunate to get back on it. It almost looked like he slipped a little bit as he tried to make his way back to the loose football on the turf.
So the Blue Raiders will punt this one from their 16-yard line. Tucker Swindler. And it's blocked. It'll take a Lindsey Wilson bounce and roll to the 37, 38-yard line. Swindler, it took him some time to get it off. And Grandview, who already has 4 punt blocks this season, make it 5 now. 22-yard punt, no return, and Grandview takes over with 2:32 left, and not a lot's going right for Lindsey Wilson to start this game. Still trailing it, just 7-0, but Grandview with great field position as they start from inside the Lindsey Wilson 40-yard line at the 38. Waring goes under center. He'll take the snap, fake a handoff to Williams. Now he'll drop it off to Williams. Once again, wide open in the flat, and he gets pushed out of bounds. And it's another 8 or 9 yard gain down to the 30-yard line.
Yeah, and it was 7, 8 yards upfield before you even got to any Blue Raider defenders. They're dropping way back and leaving those flats unprotected. I don't know if that's an adjustment that can be made, but from my vantage point, needs to be made.
Yeah, 2nd down and 2 after the 8-yard gain. Van Pelt back in the game to the right side of Waring, who's in the gun. 2 receivers in the formation, 2 tight ends. There's the snap. Fake handoff, throw outside. It's caught out on the edge. Missed tackle coming up to the right side, and all the way down to the 10-yard line goes Tristan Williams. Just an absolute whiff out there on the edge on one-on-one coverage, and just like that, Grandview in the red zone facing a 1st and goal from the 9.
See Bryant Williams checking back in at running back now for the Vikings. So 1st and goal, as you said, well, just inside the 10-yard line.
Waring goes empty set now. 5 receivers in the formation. They'll put a man in motion. Fake the jet sweep. Waring's going to keep it. Gets outside, and how did he do it? He ran all the way into the end zone. He had 3 Blue Raiders right in front of him, and none of them could put a paw on him. And Grandview leads at 13-0 with 65 seconds left. 65 seconds left in this first quarter.
Yeah, he showed that handoff on the jet sweep, and then it's just a read on his part. And honestly, I didn't think it was a very good read because, as you called, 3 defenders there, but he just ran right by them.
It was almost as if all 3, a high snap, kick is up. Great job by the holder. Puts it down, and it's good. 14-0. All 3 guys look like they were waiting for someone else, one of the others, to make the tackle, and no one took the initiative. And because of it, Waring gets it in the end zone. 14-0 our score. 1:05 left in this first quarter. We're back in 30 seconds. This is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. Grandview goes 3 plays, 38 yards, 1:27 off the clock. Jackson Waring with a 9-yard touchdown run. That's his 6th of the season, and Grandview on top, 14-0. And Bob, we talked about needing a solid start. Didn't have to be a great start, but a solid start, and the Blue Raiders, they have not gotten that yet. Trailing by 2 scores with 65 ticks left in this first quarter. Kirkland Lundy. Max Gainey back deep for the Blue Raiders. It heads towards Kirkland Lundy. He'll take it at the 5, up to the 10, 15, to the 20, and he is hammered at about the 22-yard line.
Excellent coverage by Grandview. Pulling a page out of the Blue Raider special teams playbook. You kick it into that corner, and then you just kind of pull the string on that big fishing net. Close in. Kirkland Lundy really nowhere to go.
Well, so far, you talked about special teams being a key. Right now, Grandview's winning that battle as well after that block punt, giving them terrific field position. This is too early to say a must, but you just can't fall behind to the number 1 team in the country. 5 wide once again for the Blue Raiders. Rice in the shotgun. He'll take the snap, drops back, quick throw out on the edge, goes to Saunders. It's a foot race to the edge that he's not going to win, and it's going to be a loss of 2 yards back to the 20-yard line. They're lining Saunders up out wide instead of in the backfield, and right now, that's not working either.
Well, Grandview showing some great quickness, some great speed,
Yeah.
playing it sideline to sideline. Something I think the Blue Raiders felt like they could take advantage of, outspeed them to the edge, but not thus far.
Saunders in the backfield this time to the right side of Rice. They'll put a man in motion. That's Reed. Handoff goes to Saunders. He cuts up in the middle and will get out to the 26, maybe even the 27-yard line. Gain of 6 but still will bring up third and about 5 yards.
Yeah, 6-yard run on second down, but when you're behind the chains already, now you're looking at a third and medium, 3rd and 5 to be exact. We got a stoppie.
That's the end of first quarter. 14-0. It was a quick one. We'll be back in 30 seconds. This is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. 14-0 our score. Grandview on top. Blue Raiders this season when trailing at the end of one period. They're 2-0, including last week, 20 and 24 all time when trailing after one. Bob, some first quarter stats?
Yeah, Grandview 8 first downs in the first half. They rushed the ball 8 times for 56 yards. Lindsey Wilson just 1 first down, 6 rushing attempts, 14 yards. Through the year, the Blue Raiders 4 of 5 on a total of total of 35 yards. So Lindsey Wilson, all total offense, has 11 plays, 35 yards. I said they had 35 yards passing, just 21 passing. 140 yards of offense for Grandview on 7 of 9 passing, and pretty good effort right now by the Vikes.
Third down, throw outside. It's caught by Tabori Reed, and he's got the first down. Pretty good adjustment by Reed. It was a little bit behind him, but he makes the adjustment, makes the catch, falls out of bounds at the 36-yard line. First third down conversion of the day for the Blue Raiders, now 1 of 3.
Yeah, you mentioned the adjustment. That was a heck of an effort by Tabori Reed as he actually, the ball went to the opposite side of where he was expecting it. So good effort. First down.
Bryce takes the snap. Handoff goes to Saunders. Waits, and now reverses field, and it's a big loss. Back to the 32, 33-yard line. Loss of 3 will bring up second down and 13, and that's what we talked about on first downs. You just can't get behind the chains with these guys.
Nolan Simpson on the tackle for the Vikings did a great job from his defensive end position as he just got across the line of scrimmage, the depth that he needed, maintained it, and worked his way down the line to trap Saunders in the backfield.
Reed goes in motion. There's the snap to Rice. Drops back. Here comes some pressure. Throw over the middle to Reed. He's got it at the 40 and down at the 41-yard line. Bob, we've seen all year long, Tay, wait behind that line of scrimmage. Wait. Let them open up a hole. I'm not sure you can wait against Grandview because they're just too good. The hole may never appear, and now you've allowed other guys to come in and make the tackle. He's going to have to be a little bit more decisive today, I think.
Yeah, they're well disciplined. They don't over pursue up front, and that's one thing that Tay Saunders has always been able to take advantage of on cutbacks and such. Not going to happen against this Viking front four.
Third down, 5. Fake handoff. Rice rolls out to his right, hurls it. It's caught by Sherrard inside Grandview territory at the 48-yard line. What a terrific fake. It absolutely faked out Grandview's defense because they thought Saunders had it, and Rice was rolling out all kinds of time. He probably could have ran for the first down. Instead, he throws it to a wide-open Sherrard, and that moves the chains for the third time today.
Yeah, I thought the same thing as far as Tate Rice and his decision to hold on. He felt like Sherrard was going to get free. He did, able to make the completion and move the chains.
First and 10 from the 47-yard line. Handoff goes to Saunders. Sprints outside, makes a man miss, and finally is pulled down at the 42-yard line. 5-yard gain on that one. That's probably been the most room he's had to run this afternoon will bring up second down and 5.
Fundamentally sound is a great way to describe this Viking defense. That time it was Kellen Moore, the cornerback, coming up and making a good tackle in the open field against Saunders.
12:05 left in this second period. Grandview leads it 14-0. Blue Raiders, again, spreads it wide with 5 receivers in the formation. Rice in the backfield. He'll take the snap. Quick throw over the middle. It's caught by Max Gainey. He breaks the tackle. He's got the first down and more up the sideline, and he's shoved out of bounds at about the 33-yard line. That was a terrific job by Gainey to break that tackle, and it allows the Blue Raiders to pick up their 4th first down of the day.
Yeah, got a little bit of a drive going here. Can they keep it going? They need to. They need to try and cut this Grandview lead in half if they can. But Sherrard or Gainey on that catch, as you said, run out of a would-be tackler. And that's what you're going to ask the guys to do on this, running this style offense. You got to make one man miss.
Stephen Mack in the backfield to the right side of Rice. He'll take the snap in the handoff. Mack lowers his shoulder. Very decisive. Right up the middle he goes. He should be given the 30-yard line, and that's what they'll give him. Gain of 3 will bring up second down and 7.
Yeah, and they do spot him at the 30-yard line.
We go under 11 minutes left in this second period. Blue Raiders are going to spread it out again. Stephen Mack going to line up all the way out here to the near side numbers as we're looking at it. Grandview sideline. 5 wide once again for the Blue Raiders. Rice takes the snap, drops back, looking. He's going deep for Sherrard, and unfortunately for the Blue Raiders, Rice thought he was going to zig when he actually zagged, and it's going to be incomplete, and it'll bring up 3rd and 8. Just a little miscommunication between Sherrard and Rice, who I think Sherrard was reacting to the defense, Bob. He saw the inside of the post working better than the perimeter, and Rice had already let the ball go.
Yeah, quick release by Tate Rice that time. I think this is, again, 4-down territory if you're the Blue Raiders.
I agree. 3rd down, 8 to go. About 7. There's the snap. Handoff goes to Stephen Mack, and he's going nowhere. He'll gain a yard. The ball came out, apparently, because I see a beanbag on the ground. But I think they stopped forward progress back up at the 29-yard line. And that's going to bring up 4th down and about 6 yards to go. Blue Raiders 0 for 1 on 4th down today.
See, Henry Kaysen has checked in for the Blue Raiders, replacing Cole Birch, tight end.
Good to see Henry Kaysen back out there playing again. He missed a few games. 5 wide again. Rice takes the snap, drops back, steps up in the pocket. He's in trouble, and he's going to be brought down. And there's a flag on the play. And I think this is going to be against Grandview. They went too low, Bob, on Rice. They bent him backwards, and I think this is going to be a flag against Grandview. He's going to extend the drive. We'll see. It could be a hold. No, it's a face mask.
Okay. So the Blue Raiders catch a break. Going to get the first down.
Grandview, like Lindsey Wilson's, not penalized a lot, both averaging right at 5.5 penalties per game. That's some of the best in the NAIA. But Grandview has already been penalized a couple of major penalties. That's now 3 for 35 yards and extends this drive, gives Lindsey Wilson 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line. Mack and Saunders in the backfield this time. There's the snap. Handoff goes to Stephen Mack. He cuts up and will get down to the 11-yard line. We'll bring up second down and 6 after the 4-yard gain.
Red zone, Blue Raiders, 91% on the year, including 76% scoring touchdowns. Pick up almost 4 yards on the play.
9:14 clock moving, 14-0. Grandview leads it, but the Blue Raiders threatening for the first time today. Ball on the 11-yard line will bring up second down and 7 after the 3-yard gain as we go under 9 minutes left in this quarter. Saunders, he goes in motion. Fake can't, no, hand it off to Stephen Mack, and he's not going to go anywhere. Ball comes loose, and Grandview thinks they have it, and they do.
Well,
Now the officials are going to talk about it.
Mac felt like he was stopped, or looked like he had gotten stopped just shy of the 10-yard line. And that is the call on the field. Turnover. And that's tough for the Blue Raiders who are looking to cut this lead.
So with 8:49 left, Grandview takes over deep in their own territory, but they stop the Blue Raiders from putting points on the board. The ball will be placed at the 8-yard line. And now, do we have a challenge? Yep, I think we're going to have a challenge. I think Phil Kleckler wants to know. I don't know if he thought Mac was down, if forward progress was stopped, or what, but I didn't get to hear what the White Hat said, but I don't see them running towards the.
There they go.
There they go.
I have to trek through the snow a little bit.
So with 8:49 left, I did not hear what the referee said is being challenged. I don't know if they think that Steffen's knee was down or a part of his body was down before the fumble came out, or what the will be, but we will see. Lindsey Wilson, 83 yards on 21 plays. They've actually ran the more plays than Grandview now. Grandview 17 of 140, but that doesn't matter because the scoreboard says Grandview 14, Lindsey Wilson nothing.
Trying to get a look into the Lindsey Wilson coach's box right next to us. We have a window in there to see if they see anything. As they try to punch it up. A lot of technology used in football today. With the replay system in effect, you also have replay available on your sidelines where the coaches can pull up the stuff. And so oftentimes you'll get a call down, from the press box that says, hey, we got this. You need to challenge it. This is what we're looking at, which are the same pictures that the officials will be looking at.
Coach Kleckler's had really good success this season on challenges. Seems like every time he's challenged, he's won.
I wasn't going to say anything. There is not that, again, that I'm superstitious about an announcer's jinx or anything, but I think he has succeeded in every challenge this year. You're right.
8:49 left. Officials continue to look at the monitor.
They're taking a long time to look at it.
I'm not sure that's a good thing for Lindsey Wilson unless they're looking at how much time was on the clock when the knee went down, something along those lines. And again, I'm not sure that that's even what they're looking at, but I got to assume that that's, what else could you challenge but that the runner was down before the ball popped free. 14-0. Grandview on top of Lindsey Wilson. The officials continue to look. This has been about a 3 or 4 minute stoppage.
I think the longer it goes, the more in favor it is of the Blue Raiders because it's the play either stands or is overturned. And
again, our officiating crew is out of the Kansas Collegiate Athletic Conference. And if you look to the sideline, Bob, the offense is for Lindsey Wilson
is
out there. And here comes the Grandview defense. So they've been told something.
Yep.
And they picked the ball up, was on the 9-yard line, and they're moving it back. So this is going to be a successful challenge for Lindsey Wilson. See if we can hear the official. So his backside was down before the fumble. So a good, successful challenge for Coach Kleckler. And Lindsey Wilson will keep possession of the football, albeit it'll be third down and long. Let's see where they mark it. I think it'll be third down. Am I correct? That was second down, right?
Yeah, should be third. Of course, they had changed the scoreboard and everything else. So they'll have to get all of that.
They're going to put the
reset.
ball at the 11-yard line. The down marker says second down. I believe it's supposed to be third down, so we'll see. I think the officials are discussing that. The official or all the officials in the stands from the Grandview side are yelling third down. And now they will change the down marker to the third down. So third down. Looks like it's about 7 yards to go. Rice in the gun, Saunders in the backfield. Two receivers to the left, one up top. Reed goes in motion for the Blue Raiders. There's the snap. Drop back. Rice gets out of the pocket, throws it up top, and it's almost intercepted.
Yeah. Right there.
Rice got some happy feet that time, and Blue Raiders facing a fourth down. And let's see if the Blue Raiders are going to put points on the board or try to with the field goal, or if they're going to keep their offensive unit out there. It looks like they're keeping their offense out there.
Levi Manson was the man making the play for the Grandview Vikings.
Officially fourth down, 6 to go. Play clock down to 13, and Lindsey Wilson's going to have to hurry. Now down to 9. Lindsey Wilson down to 6. They're going to end up having to call a timeout here. Down to 2. Nope, there's the snap with 1. Rice, quick throw. It's caught by Gainey, and it's going to be well shy of the first down. So it's going to be a turnover on downs, and that's kind of reminiscent, Bob, of the last time we were in Grandview. You needed a couple of extra yards, and the receiver kind of cut it off early. Nevertheless, it's going to be a turnover on downs, and Grandview will take over, and Lindsey Wilson will remain scoreless with 8:28 left in this second quarter. It was a heck of a catch in some traffic for Max Gainey, but
it's just a case, Max. Got to know where that down marker is and come up just short of it there. I'm like you. Blue Raiders were hurrying a little bit and surprised they didn't take a timeout there.
Waring in the gun. He'll take the snap, hands it off to Van Pelt, and he'll get across the 10 to the 11-yard line. Gain of 3 will bring up second down and 7 with 8:19. Clock moving. Blue Raider defense could desperately use a 3-and-out here. Try to win the field position battle and maybe give the ball back to their offense before the half. Of course, Lindsey Wilson will get the ball to start the second half. They got some work here to do in the final 8 minutes of this one. Waring in the gun, snap, fake handoff. Waring's going to keep it. Big hit by the Blue Raiders. Coming up is Jaden Walker. He read it like a book and upended Waring. He'll get out back to the line of scrimmage at the 11. Will bring up third down and 6 to go.
Yeah, tremendous play there by Walker coming up, as you said, fought off the block and just a beautiful open field tackle. So Blue Raiders now forcing the Vikings to likely to have to put the ball in the air here on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6 maybe.
Grady 1 of 2 on third downs. Waring in the shotgun. He'll take the snap, drops back. Here comes the pressure for the first time, and he airmails Toki incomplete. And that's the first time we've seen some pressure on Waring, and it worked because he didn't come close to his leading receiver. And Grandview will be forced to punt from almost the goal line.
Yeah, the 3-and-out now going to give the Blue Raiders pretty good field position. Max Gainey back deep, one of the better punt returners in the nation.
Yeah, averages almost 30 yards per punt. And he will be standing in his end zone. Well, the punter. Kick, a wobbly kick. It's going to hit the turf and take a Grandview bounce. Roll into Lindsey Wilson, half of the field, and be down at the 46-yard line. So a 43-yard punt, no return, but the Blue Raider defense stands tall and gives the ball back to the offense, and another chance, Bob, to cut into this deficit.
Well, total yardage, Blue Raiders just 87 yards on 24 plays, 144 yards for Grandview. but it just seems like you can sense a bit of a momentum shift, or at the very least, a change in it. Grandview come out and got the 2 quick touchdowns, but the Blue Raiders now with the stop and the ball in great field position, but they got to take advantage of this opportunity here.
Gainey goes in motion from left to right. Rice in the shotgun. He'll take the snap. Fake handoff. They'll pitch it outside to Gainey. Makes a man miss. Gets across midfield and across the 45 to the 43-yard line. And there is, now they're going to mark him at the 45. That's interesting.
Yeah. Gainey with a great move right there. He just kind of let the defense blow on by him.
So a 9-yard gain will bring up 2nd down and 1. 6:28, clock moving here in the second period. Blue Raiders trail at 14-0, but a opportunity here on 2nd and 1, but they'll spread it out again, 5 wide for the Blue Raiders. Rice takes the snap, drops back, looking, in trouble, gets flushed out of the pocket. They wanted a hold, did the Grandview crowd, and now Rice is going to go and run for the first down at the 40-yard line.
Boy, their coaches are all over the officials as well. Man.
Holding is not called like it used to be, Bob. It's just
No.
not.
Well,
We've
the
seen it.
rules have changed so much, and you can use your hands now as long as you don't grasp onto a jersey or a piece of equipment. And I didn't see
I
it.
didn't either,
so
but it was
it
obvious for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You set it down, so it'll be the 6th first down for Lindsey Wilson. Rice in the gun. Little counter play to Saunders. He sprints out on the edge, makes a man miss, but can't make the second one miss as he gets to the 34-yard line. Gain of 6, and he had one man to beat, and that would have been a huge gain, but he just couldn't get by Dick Herbert.
Dick Herbert Jr., defensive back. And as I said, I felt like the Blue Raiders had a little speed advantage. And to be honest, Grandview has been able to hang with them step for step.
2nd down and 4 on a nice 6-yard gain to open this set of downs. Rice in the shotgun. He'll take the snap, hand off again to Saunders. He goes right up the middle. No hesitation this time, Bob, and he'll get down to the 31-yard line. Gain of 3 will set up 3rd and 1.
Yeah, he's going to be football just inside the 31-yard line. Got to get to the 30.
Reichenbach with the tackle for Grandview. Lindsey Wilson, 2 of 6 on 3rd downs. This one's a big one here.
It is. You see Stephen Mack has checked into the ball game.
Grandview puts
going to go with a Tennessee set.
7 in the box. Now 8 in the box. Saunders goes in motion. There's the snap. Handoff goes to Stephen Mack, and he's not going to get it.
Get it. He had to get to the 30 and just did not. Got back to the line of scrimmage. That was it.
So that'll bring up 4th down, where Lindsey Wilson's 1 of 3 today on 4th downs. They're going to keep their offensive unit out there. 3:53 left. This is a big one, obviously. You can put points on the board here. You're going to get the ball to start the second half. It's a new ball game. But you got to get 1 yard here. Again, Grandview jams that box, expecting Saunders to get the football. Max Gainey goes in motion from left to right. Snap, handoff goes to Saunders.
Okay.
He's not going to get there.
That looked like I thought he dropped the ball as well, but I guess I was wrong on that.
Byler comes in through the left edge and trips up Saunders, and it's going to be change and turnover on downs once again. Lindsey now 1 of 4 on 4th downs. Coming into the day, they were 9 of 16 on 4th downs. But they're going up against.
Kind of surprised that Grandview is not getting a sideline warning. They had everybody out on the field there. I get it. You congratulate your teammates and you get ready to bring your offense on. But
so this could be a big momentum swing here. Waring in the shotgun. 3:27 left here in the second period. Grandview trying to add to their score. Handoff. And a good tackle by Cam Rankins as he comes up and, nope, that's not Rankins, that's Bridges. Comes up and drops Bryant Williams after a short gain of 1 yard.
Grandview with all 3 timeouts left here with 3 minutes, 10 seconds to go. Clock running in this first half. It's been a quick one.
3 minutes left, clock moving. Not a lot of incompletions today. Lindsay's 10 of 13. Grandview 7 of 10 on passing. Trips to the left side for Waring, who's in the gun. He'll take the snap, drops back. Looking to throw, in trouble. Here he comes. Now outside in the flat goes Williams again, and they've got him at the 36-yard line. He's brought down by Bridges. Bob, they had Williams covered down here on the flat, and then the player that was right with Williams where Waring couldn't throw it to him, he left him and tried to blitz Waring, and it left him wide open.
Yeah, that was Jamarquez Frank, and you're exactly right. And just not able to get to the quarterback after you break that off. You're expecting some help to come up from behind, and good recognition by Waring that that's where the defender vacated from, so he knew he had a guy open over there, made the connection.
Grandview's going to let this one get down to the 2-minute timeout, and that's where we're at. 2 minutes left in this first half. 14-0. Grandview on top. We're back in 30 seconds. This is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. Two minutes left in this first half. Grandview leads at 14-0 over Lindsey Wilson, the number 1 team in the country, defending national champions. Vikings have won 25 straight. The Blue Raiders seated 7th in the nation. Just one loss on the year, and Grandview facing a big third down here where they're 1 of 3 on third downs today. Third down, 3 to go. Again, Bob mentioned they have a full allotment of their timeouts. Waring in the gun. Toki goes in motion. There's the snap. They'll pitch it outside. Lindsey Wilson can't get Williams down to the ground, and he's got the first down, and he's out of bounds at the 43-yard line, and that'll stop the clock with 1:56 left. It's the 9th first down of the day for Grandview.
Something a little different that time from Grandview. A little quick toss to get the back out on the edge, and knowing they just needed a couple 3 yards, they were able to pick it up, move the chains, keep the drive alive, and stop the clock.
Waring in the gun. 2 receivers to the right, 1 up top. Now Toki goes in motion from right to left. There's the snap. Fake handoff to Schultz. Little screen pass, and it's dropped. It was intended for the tight end, Lance Clayberg, and he just couldn't haul it in. First team all-conference. He's got 16 catches on the season, including 6 touchdowns, but couldn't haul that one in on a little tight end screen. Second down and 10, 1:51 left in this opening half. Oki goes out, single coverage out up top with Lee Livingston. There's the snap. Waring drops back, rolls out to his right side. Now he's going to tuck it and run, and he's going to be hit and dropped at the 46-yard line. And let's see if Grandview's going to burn a timeout or not. Doesn't look like it. 1:36 left.
Going to give him 4 yards on the carry.
Brings up third down and 6 to go. They give him the 47. 1:27. Grandview looks content, Bob, with that 14-0 lead. Trips to the right side. That may change here if they can get a first down with this one. Waring in the gun. They'll send a man in motion. There's the snap. Here comes some pressure. They'll drop it off to Toki over the middle. He breaks a tackle. Another tackle. Ball still on his feet and gets all the way down to the 30-yard line. And that is just some poorish tackling by Lindsey Wilson.
Yeah,
they had him down. They could have had him down 15 yards ago. Waring quickly up to the line of scrimmage, and he'll spike the football to stop the clock. With even 1 minute left in this half. Brings up 2nd and 10 from the Lindsey Wilson 30-yard line. They were so desperately trying to strip the ball from Toki, they just forgot to wrap him up and try to bring him down. He gained another 10 or 12 yards on that, and that could be a huge difference in potentially a field goal. 2nd and 10, a minute left. Ball on the Lindsey Wilson 30-yard line. Waring in the gun. Van Pelt in the backfield. Bunch set for Grandview. There's the snap. Fake handoff. Now Waring's going to roll out to his right. Looking back left. Coming back down the side. Now he's going to just hurl it incomplete. And he was almost across the line of scrimmage. Now the Grandview officials or the fans wanting a penalty on Lindsey Wilson after the incomplete pass. They felt like, I guess.
I think that was a situation where two players were just locked onto each other and didn't really stop at the end of the whistle. I think what we saw looked a lot worse than what it really was. Probably a good job by the officiating crew.
And now Grandview's going to call a timeout as play clock was down to 3. 52 seconds left, 14-0 our score. Grandview on top, and they're knocking on the door for more. We're going to step away for 30 seconds. We'll be back. This is Blue Raider Football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. $14-0 our score. Lindsey Wilson has been held to just 110 total yards of offense. And this is a little reminiscent of last week when the Blue Raiders were held to like 85 yards before the final drive of the first half. But unfortunately for Lindsey Wilson, they don't have the football right here. They're trying to keep this at a 14-point game. Staring at 3rd down and 10 for the Vikings from the Lindsey Wilson 30-yard line. Waring in the gun. Van Pelt to his right side. 2 receivers to the left, 1 down to the near sideline. They'll put him in motion. There's the snap. Waring drops back, looking to throw, in trouble. Now he's going to come near sideline. That's caught by Van Pelt, and he's shoved out of bounds by Livingston at about the 26-yard line, a gain of 4 yards. But that will bring up 4th down, and they're going to send their field goal unit out. Corey Wood, 2nd team All-Conference North Division, 6 of 9 this season. He was hitting field goals in the pregame from about this distance. Didn't have too much difficulty. This one will be from the 33-yard line, so a 43-yard attempt off the right hash mark. And now Lindsey Wilson's going to call a timeout.
Ice him a little bit.
Maybe.
No pun intended.
Wood this season, he missed a 19-yarder his last go-about. You don't see that very often. But he's made from 27. He's made from 31, 34, missed from 36. And then he's made from 44, 45, 46. And then his other miss is from 50 yards. So solid kicker. This one will be from 43 to make it a 3-score game. With 45 ticks left in this first half.
Watching 7 different Grandview Viking players crowd around the salamander heater down here, but I saw a big puff of smoke come out of that thing earlier. I kind of been paying attention. I thought, golly.
So from 43 yards out, Braden Corey, the holder for Grandview. High snap. It's bobbled. Ball's on the turf, and Lindsey Wilson is going to come away with it. So with 40 seconds left, Jamarcus Frank comes out of there, and Lindsey Wilson's going to not only not give up any points, but they're going to get a chance with 40 seconds left to go down the field.
Still have one timeout left. Almost that long snap count, trying to draw the Blue Raiders offside, which I don't think would have given them the first down. And I'm not so sure, was that just a result of the bad snap, or was Grandview looking to maybe try and attempt a fake field goal there?
I'm not sure.
We'll never know.
Yeah. So 40 ticks left. One timeout left for the Blue Raiders. Ball on the Lindsey Wilson 31-yard line. Rice in the gun. He'll take the snap. In trouble. Rolls out to his right. Gets up top and tries to hit his tight end, Cole Birch, and it's incomplete. Too high. They were going deep. Were the Blue Raiders. 35 seconds left. Second down, 10 to go. Again, ball on the Lindsey Wilson 31-yard line. Blue Raiders scored right before halftime last week, and it just jump-started that offense that put up 50 in the second half, nearly 50 in the second half. There's the snap. Rice drops back. Throw incomplete. Trying to go to Borey Reed, and Rice on his backside, going to bring up third down and 10 now with 31 seconds left.
That time Grandview came with a middle blitz and a little bit of a twist up front as well. So they were able to get some pressure on him, forced him to throw the ball just a hair sooner than what he really wanted to do. Just still 31 seconds left in this half. So Blue Raiders, really like to see them pick up a first down here.
Lindsey 2 of 7 on third downs today. Snap, Rice, a little delay handoff. It goes to Saunders. He breaks outside. He's got some running room, gets to the 40 where he's upended, and that's going to bring up fourth down and about a yard.
Looks like both sides content to let the clock run. Blue Raiders hurry to the line of scrimmage.
Can't imagine they would snap this football on this half of the field with 8 seconds left. It doesn't look like they're going to. So our half is going to come to an end with Lindsey Wilson trailing it 14-0. Grandview will head into the locker room in this quarterfinal matchup with a 2-score lead. And we're back in 1 minute. This is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. Fourteen nothing. Lindsey Wilson trails Grandview here at the break. Blue Raiders with just 119 total yards of offense on 33 plays compared to Grandview's 187. Grandview scored on their first 2 drives of the game, and Lindsey Wilson defense has adapted and done a really good job ever since, but the offense still unable to put some points on the board. Nate Rice with 10 of 15 for 72 yards. Devontae Saunders just 26 total yards of rushing so far on 10 attempts, and the Blue Raiders just can't get past that defensive, really that front 7 of Grandview. They are unable to get into the secondary at all today. Really, the player that's had the most success getting into the secondary has been Max Gainey today. Other than that, it has been really non-existent for the Lindsey Wilson offense. 5 catches, 41 yards so far for Gainey here this afternoon. For Grandview, Jackson Waring 9 of 15 for 111 yards. Not a lot of. They have 76 total yards of rushing in the first half, but so far it's been Grandview leading from the outset. They lead it now 14-0. Blue Raiders this season 2-1 when trailing. They came back and beat Reinhardt earlier this season, and then last week against Indiana Wesleyan 9-34 all time when trailing at the break. Bob Boone will have all of our first half stats later in this halftime. We'll also get you caught up on scores as they have just kicked off the second quarterfinal game in the NAIA today. We'll get you caught up on that score a little bit later in this halftime. When we come back, we'll have our view from the Hill with Dwayne Bonfer from the Office of Public Relations at Lindsey Wilson. 14-0 our score, Grandview on top. 2-minute break, we'll come back. This is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network.
Welcome back to halftime of the Lindsey Wilson University Grandview University football game in this quarterfinal round, the NAIA Football Championship Series. And when it's halftime at Lindsey Wilson, it's time for a view from the Hill. I'm Dwayne Bonifer in the Lindsey Wilson Office of Public Relations, and joining me during this halftime edition of A View from the Hill is Jason Keensley. Jason is Director of Library Services at Lindsey Wilson. That means his job includes overseeing the KDA Mural Library, which is housed in the Holloway building. At this time of year, with the fall semester finals about to get underway, it's one of the more active and popular places on campus. Jason is going to talk to us about the kind of things the KDA Mural Library staff does to assist Lindsey Wilson students during this time of the year, as well as throughout the school year. And Jason, quite a busy time right now in the KDA Mural Library. Students are using that, no doubt, as a place to study and get ready for finals.
Oh, it really is. It's been really exciting to see the students taking advantage of some of the physical changes we made in the building, making the spaces a little more comfortable, more group study oriented, and we're really excited when we see something that we make a change to and the students show up and are using it. And this time of year, we're trying some new things. Like next week during finals, we're going to have a night of procrastination where students can come and do some late night studying. I think we'll be open to about midnight. So that's something that we're trying. And that's really one of the most exciting things about being here at Lindsey Wilson is having that ability to try new things and pursue things that we think can make the campus and the library a lot better.
You talked about changes you all made over in the Katie Merrill Library to start this school year. Talk about some of those changes that you all made that greeted students when they returned in August.
Oh, absolutely. We have a really great staff and they have a lot of great ideas. And so we knew the building needed a little bit of a refresh. So we literally moved our circulation or desk staff point out to the middle of the rotunda area. And that opened up some possibilities to really look at the spaces and come up with some ideas that might not be necessarily cutting edge, but things that we haven't done before, like creating a maker space, creating a manga or a popular reading area where we moved some of the couches out of our reading room out there to make it more comfortable for the students. And it's actually right outside my office, so it's neat to see the students using that space. And we took our government documents collection and we basically moved that into our regular collection. And we opened up that space by removing some rolling cabinets, and we're going to turn that into a specialized library instruction information literacy space. We're actually trying to find some funding that we can continue to improve those spaces, add more group study spaces, quiet study spaces, things like that.
I want to talk a little bit in a moment about the fact that the library is more than a place of just books. But let's talk a little bit about all the other spaces that are in the Holloway building there. You've got obviously the Katie Merrill Library, you've got the Thomas D. Clark Reading Room, you have archives are there. Talk about all the different rooms, the different places that you all have inside the building.
We've kind of changed our management structure in the library to represent how we want to utilize these spaces. Greg Blair, he's over our area with the special collections and archives and the reading room area, and we're really trying to turn those spaces into um, where we can build our collections and get more of a state-of-the-art space where people can come and actually sit down in the reading room and look at the collections that we have. Trying to invest in climate control, things like that, so we can have a good plan for long-term storage so we can increase things that maybe might be donated to us from our alumni and surrounding area. Basically, they're our public spaces. Again, trying to utilize those so that we can keep those areas in the back of the library of study research focused.
Let's talk a little bit about the role of the library in 2025. You know, everything's digital now, it seems. They talk about reading things online and digital copies of books, but there's still a need for a place that keeps physical books.
And the thing is that traditionally libraries were kind of rated on how many copies of books they had. And so you would see libraries and institutions have many copies of the same book or things like that. So weeding of those collections wasn't a priority per se. But these days, those collections are still relevant based on the discipline and things like that. Having a book where a student might want to come in and peruse and use that as opposed to an online copy of something. So we're definitely not getting rid of our collection, but we're making it more usable and relevant. We definitely have copies of items that are in both print and online. But one of our strengths as a small academic library is really leveraging our consortial groups that we are involved in, where we can get a large collections with minimal cost compared to going out and doing it on our own. So we have a nice balance of ebooks, online databases, but also print materials because again, every student's different in how they like to study.
That's what's always, I think, impressed me about the Katie Merrill Library is that students have access literally to millions of books, and within a day or two, you all can have those books for them. That's a wonderful relationship.
Oh, absolutely. And Kim in our ILL department, she's known far and wide in our online programs and people who don't live on the campus where they can get practically anything in a really reasonable amount of time if they request it through our interlibrary loan program. And there's almost never a cost to the student.
And that's the other thing I think that's impressive about the library is you all serve not just students on the AP White campus in Columbia, but literally all over the world.
And that's something that we have great pride in, even though we might not see a student face to face all the time, but we have those resources in their web pages and things that are custom built to be able to support them like they were here. And we can do and take advantage of all the things like the Zoom interactions and all that for anyone who needs that extra help.
What do you enjoy most about your role at Lindsey Wilson University?
I came from the University of Kentucky Libraries where I was there for 15 years. And what I find working at Lindsey Wilson is a quality of life. It really is. I like the interactions I have with people and the students. We're that perfect size, I think, where you can make really deep, long-lasting relationships, and and we have all those resources that some of those bigger schools have. So we have the best of everything here. Our library is completely still the library. The building is not a learning commons. It's actually the library, and we are going to make use of every inch of that space to make us one of the most envied libraries in this state.
That's Jason Gainsley. He's Director of Library Services at Lindsey Wilson University. And that's going to do it for this View from the Hill halftime show. We're going to take a short break. Then the voice of Blue Raider Athletics, Chris Wells, will be back with some more halftime fun and frivolity. At Lindsey Wilson University, I'm Dwayne Bonifer.
Fourteen nothing. Grandview leads Lindsey Wilson here at the break. Bob, let's go through some first half stats.
All right, running down the numbers from the first 30 minutes of football. Lindsey Wilson has 6 first downs compared to 10 for Grandview. Blue Raiders rushed the ball 18 times for a total of 47 yards. Grandview across the ledger, 14 carries, 76 yards. Lindsey Wilson, 10 of 15 through the air for a total of 72 yards. So all total, 33 plays, 119 yards of offense for the Blue Raiders. Grandview, 9 of 15 through the air for 111 yards. Couple that with the 76 yards on the ground. And the Vikings have 187 yards of offense on 29 plays. There were no fumbles lost in the first half, and there were no interceptions, so 0 turnovers, other than the one that the Blue Raiders did turn over on downs on their on a fourth down play. Blue Raiders are 2 of 8 on third down efficiency compared to 3 of 6 for Grandview, and as we said, 1 of 4 on fourth down. So Blue Raiders haven't been able to convert and keep their drives going. Lindsey Wilson has not been penalized in the first half of play. For Grandview, they were penalized 3 times for a total of 34 yards. That was allowed the Blue Raiders to keep a couple different drives going. Defensively, leading tackler in the ball game is Argo for Grandview. He has 8 tackles, including 1 6-yard tackle for loss, and then Fowler has 6 tackles, and he has a TFL as well. Caleb Bridges, leading tackler for the Blue Raiders with 5 stops total. Howard Gant has 4, 3 apiece for Rankins, Barnett, and Sam Taylor. Blue Raiders just haven't been able to quite get things uncorked here in this first half, Chris. They're going to have to come out of the locker room, see if they can't do something, see if there isn't something that gets them ignited, reminiscent of what happened last week against Indiana Wesleyan and then all the way back in the regular season against Reinhardt.
Yeah, I think this first drive is going to be important from the standpoint of just getting some confidence. I think the Blue Raiders they move the football some, um, but in situations of third and short, fourth and short, that kind of stuff, they just haven't been able to gain the extra yard or two when they needed it most. And ultimately, Grandview has kept the Blue Raiders off the board. Lindsey's been in the red zone once or twice today.
Twice, I
Yeah,
believe. Yeah.
and this is a team that scores 90% of the time when they get in the red zone, and so it's not like they haven't had their opportunities. You just got to try to close the deal in this first drive. They can go put 7 on the board right out of the locker room. That could change the complexity of this game completely. So we'll see. 14-0 our score. Grandview leads Lindsey Wilson. We're going to take a 1-minute break. We'll come back. This is Blue Raider Football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. Nothing our score here in Des Moines, Iowa. Lindsey Wilson and Grandview, one of 3 quarterfinal games going on today. Kaiser has already punched their ticket to the semifinals. We told you a little bit about the fact that Marion had to withdraw from the FCS basically because playing an ineligible player last week. And the other game that's going on right now, Benedictine leads Friends midway through the first quarter, 7-0. So they're just underway, just down the road a bit. And the other game, College of Idaho at Montana Tech, is supposed to kick off at 2 o'clock Central Time, so in about 35 minutes. Rob, there was some, I don't know, it wasn't an altercation, just some words exchanged as both these teams were going off the field. Something was said to Lindsey Wilson, or Lindsey Wilson said something to Grandview. There was some pointing at the scoreboard. Then some teammates had to hold Larry Montgomery back because he was really frustrated and irate at something that someone from Grandview said. If I'm Grandview, I'm just, I don't want to poke the bear, so to speak. And I don't know if they may feel like they're a bigger bear, and maybe they are. We'll see. But you're controlling the game. I'm not sure why you would instigate anything at this point in time.
Yeah, not really sure what took place. I caught the last part of it when, it was good to see Lindsey Wilson captains Darius Moore and Cam Rankins doing everything they can to keep their teammates away from any kind of fracas and saying, "Hey, let's just get to the locker room." So, just showing good team leadership there because we still got a half of football to play. And while it hasn't been the greatest half we've seen out of Lindsey this season, they're in this ball game, and as we know, down 14-0. They get the ball to start this second half, and they certainly are capable. They've had the ball inside the red zone a couple of times with opportunities, just not able to convert. And it seems like they're just one click, right or left, up or down, from being able to make things happen for this offense.
14-0 our score. Grandview will kick it off to start this second half. Congolo Wimakambe will kick it off for for Grandview. And Bob, did you notice what's going on down there?
That he's got pants
He's
on?
got pants on this time.
Yeah,
He's got tights on underneath his shorts.
Yeah, interesting, because he was showing a lot of leg there for a long time, and now he's got the tights. I don't blame him. If I had some, I'd have them on right now myself.
Max Gainey and Kirkland Lundy back deep for the Blue Raiders. They've switched spots, though. Max Gainey over to the left as we're looking at it, right side of the field as he is standing. Kirkland Lundy to the left. We're about ready for second half action. When a combo kicks it away, and Gainey will call for a fair catch, and that'll bring it out to the 25-yard line.
All right. It's not something we're used to seeing out of the Blue Raiders, but we know we have seen excellent coverage from Grandview on their kickoffs. thus deciding that the 25-yard line's a pretty good place to start to the Blue Raiders.
So let's see what, if any changes that would potentially be made to the offense, or adjustments, I should say. Blue Raiders will send 3 wide on an unbalanced set. Saunders will line up in the pistol. Now he moves to the right side of Rice, who's in the gun, takes the snap. They'll hand it off to Saunders. He cuts up the middle, now cuts out to the side, and he'll be brought down at the 28-yard line. Gain of 3 will bring up 2nd down and 7.
Yeah, started to go out, come back to the middle, went back outside. Not a huge gain there, but playing it straight up. 4-man front for the Grandview Vikings.
The thing about Grandview is they're so have so much confidence in those front 4 and maybe 7 that if Saunders can ever get beyond one, he's gone, because as Rice fakes a handoff, now rolls out to his right, drops it off to Birch, and he'll be brought down at the 31-yard line. Gain of about 3 yards will bring up another big-time 3rd down and 4 yards to go.
Yeah, we've mentioned in our pregame, Chris, how important first down was going to be, and the Blue Raiders just haven't been able to get much going on first down, and so you're behind the chains a little bit. A short gain here. I mean, it's 3rd down and manageable, but sure would like to see the Blue Raiders get in a position where they're, picking up bigger chunks on first down.
There's a snap. Rice drops back, looking, now rolls out. He's going to tuck it and run, and he's going to get the first down across the 35 to the 36, maybe even the 37-yard line. No, they're going to give you the 36. Go back for just a moment. Cole Birch, that was his first catch of the season, Bob. And again, Blue Raiders playing without Seth Phillips, who was injured last week on the last kickoff of the game in that Indiana Wesleyan game.
Empty set look now for the Blue Raiders.
1st and 10. Lindsey Wilson with their 7th first down of the afternoon. Rice in the gun, 5 wide. There's the snap, drops back. Here comes some pressure off the edge. Rice steps up in the pocket. He's going to fling it up top. He's got Gainey. What great touch. And Gainey's got the first down into Grandview territory at the 46-yard line. What touch that was, because he had a Grandview man back in front of Gainey and one behind him, and he just dropped it into the arms of Gainey for a first down.
Yeah, an excellent point, and just able to roll out to his right, buy himself some time. Gainey was on a deep out route there, and as you said, just dropped it in there on a dime.
Again, 5 wide, 3 up top, 2 down below. Rice drops back. They'll pitch it outside to Saunders. He breaks a tackle. No, he does not, and it's going to be a 1-yard loss.
Fundamentally, this Grandview defense has been outstanding all game, and they make open field tackles. They're just sound in every aspect.
Kellen Moore with that tackle for a 1-yard loss to Saunders.
They're not doing anything fancy. There's not a lot of disguised defenses. They're in a straight 4-man front.
Brings up 2nd down and 11. Saunders lines up in the backfield this time. Rice in the shotgun. 2 receivers to the right. Now Tabori Reed goes in motion. There's the snap. Handoff goes to Saunders. He breaks outside, cuts back up in the middle, and dives forward to the 44-yard line. A gain of 3 will bring up 3rd down and 8 to go.
Once again, 4-down territory for the Blue Raiders. Don't be surprised if they try to set Saunders free here with a handoff, knowing you're going to go for it on 4th down as well.
The little crossing patterns worked a couple times today for the Blue Raiders with Gainey and Tabori Reed. They've not been able to get Sherrard really open any today. 11-11 left in this 3rd period, 14-0 our score. Grandview on top. Rice takes the snap. Here comes some pressure. He rolls out, in trouble again. Looking. Now he's just going to have to chuck it out of bounds, and it'll be incomplete.
Tate got hit as he released the ball on that near sideline, and now there's some more drawing going on.
And the Blue Raiders going to be forced to punt. So it was a promising start to the drive, but It ends with a punt, and the last time Tucker Swindler punted, he had his first blocked punt of the season. Toki stands back inside the 10-yard line. High end-over-end kick, and it's going to hit and take a right-hand turn out of bounds at about the 12-yard line. Make it the 13. So Grandview will take over with 10:52 left in this third period. Lindsey Wilson still unable to dent the scoreboard. They trail at 14-0. See if Lindsey Wilson defense can continue to play and continue to stymie Grandview. 3 down linemen for Lindsey Wilson. They have not put a lot of pressure on Waring today. Van Pelt in the backfield. 2 receivers up top for Grandview. They'll move Clayberg, the tight end, from the right side to the left. Handoff goes to Van Pelt, and Darius Moore will dropping back for a loss.
It's the first tackle for loss on the day for the Blue Raiders.
They'll pull him down at the 9-yard line. That'll be a 4-yard loss. We'll bring up 2nd down and 14. Approaching the 10-minute mark of this third period. Lindsey Wilson would love nothing more than to force a punt. Keep the field position. They got a couple of downs to go. There's the snap. Fake handoff. Waring drops back. He lobs it up top and wide open, first down. And that's Phillips for Grandview. Right in his back pocket was Cameron Barnett, but what a beautiful throw by Waring. And Phillips, with his 14th catch of the season, moves the chains.
It's a terrific pass. Just right on the money, and it just looked easy right there for Waring.
First down, number 12 on the afternoon for Grandview. Waring in the gun, Van Pelt in the backfield. There's the snap. Handoff goes to Van Pelt, a little counter, and Cam Rankins brings him down after a 2-yard gain across the 25 to the 26-yard line.
Good job by Cam Rankins. The linebacker comes up, filled the hole. Good form tackle. Gonna have to do that against these Vikings.
9:20 left.
As good as we talked about how fundamental they are on defense. Same thing offensively.
Waring in the gun. That's Williams in the pistol. They'll send a man in motion. There's the snap. Fake handoff to Williams. Waring drops back. Looking. Now he gets flushed out of the pocket. He's going to tuck it and run. Breaks the tackle and dives across the 35 to the 36-yard line. That'll be a first down for Grandview.
Sam Taylor come over, and Waring, as you said, just able to escape his tackle. You can't arm tackle a big kid like Waring.
8:35, clock moving, 14-0. Grandview with the lead and the football as we hit the halfway point of this third period.
Waring leading rusher in the game with 33 yards on 6 carries.
Snap. Handoff goes to Williams as he gets outside on the edge. There's all kinds of room. He's across midfield, breaks a tackle, and steps out of bounds in Lindsey Wilson territory at the 36-yard line.
Well, that time Grandview just got the seal on the edge, and then good downfield blocking as well by Toki, the wide receivers, would allow that play to blow all the way into Blue Raider territory.
This drive started on the 11-yard line, and they're in Lindsey Wilson territory at the 36. And Blue Raiders, right now is a good time for a takeaway. They need one desperately. Snap. Fake handoff. Now they'll give it back on a little flea flicker throw up top. It's caught by Clayberg, the tight end, and he's going to get in the end zone, touchdown. They handed it off. Reversed it to Toki, who threw it back to Waring, and he threw it up top to his tight end that was wide open, and Clayberg hauls it in, and it's 20-0 with 7.5 left in this third period.
Yeah, Clayberg picks up his 7th touchdown reception of the season, and well executed that time by Grandview. Had the Blue Raiders fooled.
Wood on for the extra point. Kick is up, and it is good. 21-0, 7:31 left. We're back in 30 seconds. This is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. Grandview leads it by a score of 21-0, just over midway through the third period. Jackson Waring with a 36-yard touchdown pass to Lance Clayburgh on a 6-play, 87-yard drive. Takes 3 minutes and 21 seconds off the clock for Waring. That's touchdown pass number 32 on the season. And for Clayburgh, he has his 7th touchdown reception of the year. Gainey and Kirkland Lundy exchanges places. End over end kick and another fair catch call for by Kirkland Lundy. So now it's go time for the Blue Raider offense. They just don't have any more opportunities. No, there's just it's razor thin right now, Bob. You gotta produce some points here.
Yeah, because Grandview's been so good offensively, converting on third downs. They're 3 of 6 overall, but they're able to take advantage of the opportunities, unlike the Blue Raiders, who have had a couple, gotten the ball into the red zone a couple times, but just not able to put points on the board, and you can't dilly-dally around any longer.
There's the snap. Fake pitch to Saunders. Now Rice going deep to Gainey. He's got a little bit of an opening, and it's dropped, incomplete.
Boy, I thought he had it. It looked like he did and just could not.
Kellen Moore may have ripped it out of his hands. Yeah. If it was thrown another yard or two out in front of Gainey, he had plenty of time to get underneath it, but with it just being a tad bit short, and he could have got up in the wind, and he was throwing it into the wind, was Tate Rice. I think it held it up there just a little bit, slowed Max Gainey down a bit, and Kellen Moore was able to catch up and strip it away.
Second pass breakup of the day for Kellen Moore.
2nd and 10. Rice takes the snap. Handoff goes to Saunders. He breaks outside, gets to the sideline, and gets shoved out of bounds after about a 2-yard gain. There has just been no running room this afternoon for Tay Saunders.
Oh, and once again, Kellen Moore, the safety, coming up in run support, making sure that Saunders wasn't able to turn the corner. And big third down right here. The Blue Raiders defense, they've been on the field quite a bit.
3rd and 3 of 10 on third downs today are the Blue Raiders, well below their season average. They normally at 47%, just 30 today. 5 wide. Rice in the gun. Got to get to the 35. Snap. Here comes some pressure. Steps up in the pocket, does Rice. Now he's going to tuck it and run, and he's got the first down as he gets out of bounds.
Good heads-up play by Tate Rice. Realized that, hey, I can make a profit here if I just put this ball under my arm and go. And that's exactly what he did.
Rice not much of a runner. He's only ran 24 times coming into the game for 23 yards. So if you're Grandview, you really just kind of ignore that part of it. But Rice is an athlete. That's his 4th rush of the day, and he's got 20 yards on the afternoon. 2-back set. Fake handoff. Now a flea flicker to Rice throwing. He's got a man. That's Sherrard, and it's underthrown. Sherrard goes up top, incomplete, and comes a flag.
Yep. I agree, and it's all as a result of the underthrown ball, because as Sherrard comes back for it, the defender made contact, and that's going to get you a penalty every time. Grandview fans don't like it.
Rice got hit again, Bob. He's a little bit wobbly. We may see. He says he's okay. $15-yard penalty against Grandview.
See Prior Lamb over there on the sideline.
That's the fourth penalty against Grandview today for 49 yards. That'll move the ball into Grandview territory at the 48-yard line, 1st and 10. 6:07 left. Blue Raiders trail at 21-0.
So once again, Blue Raiders able to take advantage of a first down via the penalty.
Two-back set. Saunders goes in motion. There's the snap. Fake handoff to Mack. They'll pitch it outside to Saunders. He's one-on-one out on the edge. Makes that man miss, makes another one miss, and gets all the way down inside the 40 to the 39-yard line. And that's the Tay Saunders we're used to seeing, making people miss.
Yeah, get the ball to him on the outside. That's as good as a toss sweep. Tay Saunders.
Oh, they give him the first down. So they're going to give him 10 yards. The Grandview fans not happy at all with that. And I thought he was a yard short too. 1st and 10 after the 10-yard completion. And now
got a timeout. And they're all talking to each other. One of the officials.
I thought he was easily a yard shy. And now they're going to bring the yardage markers back, and that's right. It should be 2nd down and 1. Yeah, he had to get to the 38, and he only got to the 39. So
Okay.
I think that's a good call. Yep. 2nd down, 1 to go. 5:27 left. Clock stopped, and now they'll wind it. Mack and Saunders in the backfield this time. Saunders goes in motion. Snap. Handoff goes to Mack. Cuts up in the middle, and he's got the first down. Just powers his way to the 35-yard line.
Yeah. One thing we haven't seen, though, from the Blue Raiders offensive front is where they're just blowing this defensive front of Grandview off the line of scrimmage. We mentioned this 4-man front has been outstanding all season and been outstanding here today.
4:45 left, 21-0. Grandview leads. Lindsey Wilson threatening again in Grandview territory, but they've been unable to dent the scoreboard. 5 receivers wide for the Blue Raiders, 3 up top, 2 down below. Rice takes the snap, in trouble. Gets flushed out of the pocket. He's going to be sacked.
Yeah, chased down from behind. Casey Trudeau.
And Trudeau's hurt.
Yeah.
All the way back to the 45-yard line. That's a 10-yard loss. Is going to bring up 2nd down and 10. Or excuse me, 2nd down and 20. And you hope Trudeau's not seriously injured.
6'2", 250-pound junior defensive lineman.
His 5th sack of the season.
Trudeau hails from Van Meter, Iowa. Training staff tends to him.
Part of the problem, Bob, is with the Blue Raiders is, yes, they are typically a quick strike offense, and Grandview has limited that today. So, the 3 scores down wouldn't necessarily scare you too much too often, but the Blue Raiders they haven't been able to put together big chunk plays down the field today, and it's because of this really good Grandview defense.
Yeah, Blue Raiders averaging just 3.6 yards per play. They have snapped the ball 46 times.
2nd down, 20 to go. Rice takes the snap, fake handoff, rolls outside, now throws it backwards, and it's going to be picked up by Saunders. They don't stop the play, and now they are. They're going to say an incomplete pass.
Okay.
And Rice got hit again. He has taken a beating back here behind the line of scrimmage. He goes to the white hat, says something to him. Jackson Fowler was right in his grill and knocked him to the turf, and that's going to bring up 3rd and 20. Lindsey Wilson's got to get down to the 25-yard line.
Heads up play by Devontae Saunders to take that ball off the bounce and take off with it, because you're right, it was dangerously close to being a lateral.
Third down, 20 to go. Blue Raiders 4 of 11 on third downs. A little delay handoff to Saunders. Big hole out to the 35, 30, 25, 20, and he's gone!
And you got a flag. It's coming back. Oh. Way after the play, Saunders had gotten into the end zone before the official threw his flag. But that one may have been aided a little bit by the crowd and the sideline. But he was at the 5-yard line going in when you saw the flag come out. But nonetheless, it's coming back.
Lindsey Wilson's first penalty of the day, Bob.
Yep.
First time Saunders has been really second time. Now, it is going to be third down, and
going to pick up about 6 yards net on the play. The down marker's still back at the 45. Ball spotted at the 39.
Yeah, they're going to move that now.
Yeah, slowly. He's not real sure of himself, the gentleman at the down marker. He ought to just ask the official, where do you want me?
He's got fourth down on the marker. Now he moved it. There's the snap. Another delay handoff to Saunders, and he's going nowhere.
Well, it's just discombobulation a little bit everywhere. The Blue Raiders look like they're sending a special teams unit on.
And here comes a flag on the play, and this is going to be against Lindsey Wilson's sideline. I don't know if it's a sideline warning or unsportsmanlike or what it is, but temperatures are rising over there on that Blue Raider sideline.
Well, I think there was confusion certainly with the down marker, but nobody sideline warning, which is interesting because the Blue Raiders were changing. They were bringing their kicking unit onto the field.
So Swindler will come on to punt this one away. Toki stands inside his 10-yard line. 3:34 left here in the third period. Kick is away. Toki's going to let it hit at the 5, and it's going to roll all the way into the end zone. And that'll bring it back out to the 20. So a 41-yard punt, but just a 21-yard net. No return. And Grandview will take over. First and 10 from their own 20-yard line with 3:27. The Blue Raiders need some kind of something right here, Bob. They need to force a turnover, a quick 3 and out, whatever. They got to get the ball back to their offense pretty quickly here.
Yeah,
because Grandview can erase this 3:27 in a heartbeat. Wearing in the gun and Pelt in the backfield, 2 receivers up top. Snap. Handoff goes to Van Pelt, and he's hit right at the line of scrimmage.
Good penetration up front. Darius Moore. I'm going to give him the line of scrimmage, but Darius got through the offensive line, was able to make the tackle.
Brings up second down and 10 from the 20.
Van Pelt was able to stretch it out, get back to the line of scrimmage, saving the tackle for loss.
We go under 3 minutes left in this third period. Wearing in the gun. Takes the snap, looking to throw. Rolls out to his right side. Plenty of time. Now he sees all kinds of green turf in front of him, and he's going to have the first down across the 30 to the 33-yard line. A 13-yard gain. He just rolled out, Bob, and looked and looked and looked, and no one was open. And ultimately, he saw that there was no one in front of him, and he just took off and got the first down.
And now Darius Moore is going off to the sideline on the far side of the field. Looks like he's holding a hand or arm or something, so he's checked out of the ball game.
2.5 left here in the third. new set of downs for Grandview, their 14th of the day. Make it their 15th of the day.
Isla Cornelius into the ball game for Darius.
Waring takes the snap, hands it off. Right up the middle goes Van Pelt, and he'll fall forward. Actually, that's Williams. He'll fall forward across the 35 to nearly the 37-yard line, and that's what they're going to give him.
Yeah.
Gain of 4.
Initial contact made back at the original line of scrimmage, but he just kept the legs driving and forced his way deeper into that defensive side of the ball.
Second down, 6 to go. 1:44 left here in the third. Grandview leads at 21-0. Waring takes the snap. Hand off to Williams again, and shut up! I think it. It was stripped away by Sammy Taylor, and I think Lindsey Wilson come out of there with it. They did. So there's the first turnover of the game.
And as we well know, those can be momentum changers. So the Blue Raiders get a defensive stop they need on the turnover, have the ball in Grandview territory.
Grandview has outgained the Blue Raiders 291 to 163 today.
On 10 less plays.
Yep. Now can the Blue Raiders capitalize on this turnover?
Looks like they're going to go, I was going to say empty set, but Saunders is in there along with Mack. Mack's going to line up in the backfield.
Yep. Rice in the shotgun. Trips up top, including Saunders in the middle of that slot. They'll pitch it outside to Saunders. He's going to throw it. Going to heave it. Oh, this is a... and Mack catches it at the 18-yard line.
Yeah,
that was a
wounded quail.
Wounded quail. I was trying to think of the terminology I was looking for. Saunders didn't even really look. He just grabbed it and threw it, and Mack made a good job of coming up and making the catch.
Saunders, he got hit a little bit, and now Mack's limping off to the sideline.
That'll bring up 1st and 10. Blue Raiders in the red zone again. This one from the 16-yard line. So we go under a minute left in this quarter. Rice in the gun, takes the snap, drops back, looks over the middle. He's got his man. That's Tabori Reed inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. Gain of 8 will bring up, or 7 will bring up second down and 3 with 30 seconds left.
Blue Raiders going with some tempo here. Going to get the ball snapped at least one more time in this quarter.
Down to 15.
Set that.
Rice in the shotgun, has Saunders to his left, 2 receivers each way.
Head.
There's the snap, drops back, looking, throw, caught by Reed, touchdown Blue Raiders.
0 on the play clock for a couple seconds. Nobody.
Well, it was under 30.
Okay.
So they just didn't reset.
I see. You're right. Thank you.
Yeah. So Tabori Reed with the touchdown catch out of the turnover, and that will send Burns on for the extra point. He's 54 of 57 this season. Kick is up. And it is good. 21-7, 3 seconds left in this third period. We'll keep it right here. We'll be going to a break at the end of the quarter anyway.
Well, there's a lot of chippiness going on, just a lot of jawing back and forth.
For Rice, that's touchdown toss number 29. And for Tabori Reed, he hauls in his 4th touchdown catch of the season. 3 plays, 42 yards, took 1:23 off the clock after the takeaway. And it's 21-7 with 3 seconds left. Now you need, that was the first something special, Bob. You need about 3 more.
Yep.
2 more anyway. When Lindsey Wilson wins the turnover battle all time, they're 86-5. They're a +1 right now. But they are still staring down some
pretty
2-score deficit.
Sized hill to climb.
Peyton Good back deep for Grandview. Burns to kick it off. It's going to hit at the turf, take a roll, and picked up at the 15-yard line. Oh, big hole for Grandview. It's a foot race, and Lindsey Wilson's going to get it right back.
Not the best kick, and even worse coverage.
Bryant Williams with the kickoff return for a touchdown. And Lindsey Wilson, if they had any momentum, it's now gone. 27-7, triple zeros on the scoreboard here in the third, and Grandview will caught on their extra point unit. Kick is up, and it is good. 28-7 our score as we head to the fourth quarter. We're back in 30 seconds. This is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. $28-7 our score, and that was apparently number 20, Isaac Crackle, with the return instead of Williams. It was an 85-yard touchdown return for a score, and it's 28-7. Grandview on top of the Blue Raiders. And Bob, it's not often we say this, but special teams a big check mark for the opposing team today. Grandview has won the special teams battle, and that's something that we just don't say very often.
No, not at all. Lindsey Wilson traditionally has been very solid in special teams.
No, they're not. I'm going to correct you, which I don't do very often, but they're usually really good. Not just solid, but really good in special teams. And today, Grandview has just took it to them. You blocked a punt. You kickoff return for a touchdown. You've not allowed the kick unit or the return unit for Lindsey Wilson to get any type of momentum. Everything's been inside the 25-yard line, with the exception of a couple times that they've asked for the fair catch. So it's been they've definitely won that phase of the game.
Of course, that play ended the quarter, so we have switched sides.
Well, let's see if Max Gainey or Kirkland Lundy can do the same. It's a kick will be taken at the 18-yard line by Adrian Bailey, and he'll spin across the 25 to the 26-yard line. That was a short kick. So it'll be Lindsey Wilson's football. It's 14:56 left in the season, unless they do something special here over this last quarter of play.
Still plenty of time, but it is becoming a premium for the Blue Raiders.
That 26-yard pass by Devontae Saunders to Stephen Mack was the longest completion of the day. Just to tell you about how Lindsey Wilson usually can throw it deep downfield. Rice with a bullet overthrows Adrian Bailey, incomplete, as he got flushed out of the pocket. Will bring up second down and 10.
Nothing fancy up front for Grandview. They're just rushing their four, and they've been able to get enough pressure on Tate Rice to force him to throw the ball away more often than he's wanted to. Just really impressed with this Viking defense and how sound they are. Very vanilla defense.
Trips to the left side. There's the snap. Handoff goes to Saunders. And he's tackled after a 2-yard gain up to the 27-yard line. Saunders just 33 net yards of rushing yards today on 15 carries. He's gained 45 today, but he's also lost 12 yards.
Yeah, he's going to check out now as Tabori Reed comes in.
Blue Raiders 4 of 12 on third downs this afternoon.
Fifth receiver.
Snap. Rice drops back, has some time, steps up in the pocket. Now he's going to be crunched as he gets close to the 30-yard line. He'll be brought down at the 29. And
man, there's just now you got Vikings tackling Vikings to keep them out of any extra kind of shenanigans.
the Blue Raiders going to punt it away. 13:45 left in this one, and unfortunately for Lindsey Wilson, this one's getting away from him.
Again, Larry Montgomery. Saw him pointing a finger and saying something. Ushered off to the sideline by one of his teammates.
Swindler to punt it away. High wobbly kick. Toki will catch it, fair catch it at the 38-yard line, and that's where Grandview will take over with 13:18 left. You got to give it to Grandview. They're the number one team for a reason, and they have really won every facet of the game to this point. The only really win for the Blue Raiders is they've got to take away. Grandview does it. But you also look at it from the standpoint of Lindsey Wilson's 1 of 4 on fourth down. So that's basically three turnovers.
Yes, sir.
2 of which I know were inside the red zone. Waring in the gun. Van Pelt in the backfield. Toki goes in motion for Grandview. There's a snap. It'll be a handoff to Van Pelt as he tries to get outside, and he's going to be stood up at the 40-yard line. 1-yard gain for Van Pelt as we head towards 13 minutes left in this one.
Well, I appreciate you bringing the space heater, but it's worked overtime today. It's not. I'm just not going to say we're cozy warm up here.
No. 2nd and 9. Snap. Waring drops back, looks, drops it off to Van Pelt in the flat. They have really used that well today.
Indeed, they have. He looks, goes through all of his checkdowns, and his safety valve over here on this near side.
8-yard gain will bring up 3rd down and 1.
Once again to Van Pelt, but you're right. He has utilized that. He's very patient in the pocket. He's wearing, he doesn't get happy feet.
3rd and 1. Grandview 3 of 6 on 3rd downs today. Two-back set. There's the snap and a whistle, and Lindsey Wilson with a timeout. So they'll be down to 2 in this half. 28-7, our score, 12:03 left. Let's step away for 30. This is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. $28-7 our score, 12:03 left. Bob mentioned how cool it was in our space heater. It's 29 degrees here, cloudy. We are about ready to get some snow here in just a few minutes. The feel-like temperature is 18 degrees right now. And we are in an unheated press box, which I've never heard of before, but that's what we're in right now. At least we're out of the wind.
Yes, sir.
Third down, 1 to go. Waring in the gun. Lindsey Wilson jams that line of scrimmage. There's a snap. Waring's going to keep it. Flag on the play. All kinds of flags, and Waring's going to be stopped short of the yard to gain. But let's see what the flags are.
Yeah. All three of the back officials threw the flag.
Does Lindsey Wilson have too many men on the field?
It's probably a good guess. It looks like a bunch of them out there.
Yep. Too many men on the field. How does that happen out of a timeout?
Yeah.
They still have 12 guys on the field.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Just a mix up on the personnel changes. Everybody saw it, at least in the defensive backfield, because your side judge, your field judge, and your back judge, all three threw flags as soon as the ball was snapped.
11:36 left, clock moving. Waring goes under center. There's the snap. Hands it off, breaking outside and up the middle or outside to the left side, and for a first down goes Ethan Schultz. And that'll move the chains on a 14-yard gain down to the 31-yard line. Grandview with its 17th first down of the day.
We're over 300 yards of offense on the day. 151 of those on the ground.
Waring in the gun this time has Van Pelt back in the backfield to his left side. There's the snap. Hand off to Van Pelt as he breaks outside and he gets ran into and pulled down by Troy Churchill. Churchill with the stop. As Van Pelt gets back to the line of scrimmage, will bring up second down and 10. Snow-covered ground, getting ready to get some more here. As I look at the radar, it's not too far away from us. The Raiders will be traveling back into some snow tonight. Hopefully we can get up the road before. Not supposed to get a ton here. 2 to 5 inches is what they're calling for. There's a snap. Waring, hand off to Van Pelt again, and he is met at the line of scrimmage by Cam Rankins. 1 yard gain to the 30 is going to bring up third down and 9.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a heavy dose with the running backs. Williams checks back into the ball game. Van Pelt checks out.
Yeah, Grandview, there's no need in putting the ball in the air, really. Even if you have to, even if you're, don't get anything here, or anything, your defense has given up nothing today. Hardly anything at all. So no reason to stop the clock. Just pound it out. Bryant Williams into the backfield this time. He'll take the snap, does Waring, and hands it off to Williams. Cuts outside, and a nice tackle out on the edge by Lindsey Wilson's Bennett McDougal. That probably saved a first down run for Williams, and that's going to bring up fourth down. And Grandview going to keep their offensive unit out there. Fourth down and 3 to go. They got to get to the 21-yard line.
McDougal, big freshman, 6'2", 215 pounds, out of Whitewell, Tennessee. Listed as a defensive back, but he is that hybrid linebacker type.
Grandview going for fourth down for the first time today. There's the snap. They're going to throw it. Drops back, throw outside, and it is caught. First down at the 19-yard line.
Heck of an effort to come back and make that catch for Grandview.
Good.
Came into today with just 6 receptions, but that was a big one right there to keep this drive alive.
Long throw for Waring as well. So 8:21 left, clock moving, 28-7. Grandview leads it. The Blue Raiders needed that stop and didn't get it.
Yeah. Now you're going to be looking for a turnover. I formation.
Williams in the shot or in the backfield. He'll take the handoff, runs up the sideline, and he gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Grandview. And here comes a flag. Multiple flags, actually.
And one of them behind the play, so this may be coming back. Grandview walking as if it's coming back.
So it's going to be after the play.
Yeah.
Unsportsmanlike on Lindsey Wilson. And Grandview, the touchdown's going to count. Now on for the extra point. 34-7 with 7:57 left. Extra point on its way up, and it is good. 35-7 our score, 7:57 left. We're back in 30. This is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. Eight plays, 61 yards, takes 5 minutes and 21 seconds off the clock. Bryant Williams with the 19-yard touchdown run for Williams. That's his third rushing touchdown of the season. He also has 3 receiving touchdowns, so 6 total on the year. And they're going to assess the penalty on the kickoff. So Grandview will kick off from the 50-yard line with 7:57 left.
Well, not much has gone right for the Blue Raiders today. Well, that's just a little bit of the proverbial icing on the cake for Grandview. It's highly unlikely this ball will be returned.
And it will be kicked through the back of the end zone. So with 7:57 left, Lindsey Wilson trying to chip into this deficit. Just 208 total yards of offense today for the Blue Raiders. On 54, they average just 3.8 yards per play today compared to Grandview's 7.5. Third down was an issue. First down, Bob, I think first down was the one that I thought would be the most important, and Lindsey was behind the chains a lot today.
Indeed, they were.
Even when they were able to get a decent first down run, it was really just, 3 yards. I mean, it was just never.
No explosive plays whatsoever.
Rice in the shotgun has
first down.
5 receivers in the formation. He'll drop back, looking to throw. He's going down the middle of the field, and this one's going to be knocked away. Trying to get to Gainey, 3 defenders in the area.
Yeah, that was going to be tough. That ball just slightly underthrown. Gainey had to whoa up to come back for it.
Benedictine leads Friends 17-7 at the half. College of Idaho on top of Montana Tech 7-0. 5 minutes into that game. Unfortunately for the Blue Raiders, this one was gotten out of hand. 35-7 our score. Rice throws outside. It's caught out on the edge and pulled in by Henry Kaysen. His first catch in a while. His 13th catch of the season. Of course, he missed some time, but just a 5-yard gain to the 30-yard line brings up third down and 5. Lindsey 4 of 13 on third downs today.
Kaysen out of Page High School, Franklin, Tennessee. I understand they won their state championship game last night.
Flurry starting here in Des Moines. There's the snap. Rice in trouble. Rolls out to his right. Now he's going to tuck it and run. He's going to have the first down as he gets out of bounds.
don't see no flurries.
Yeah, they're there.
I'm not looking hard enough.
They're there.
Okay.
1st and 10, 6:55, clock moving. Squint just a little bit, Bob. You'll be able to see them. They are flurries. It's not a snow. It's a flurry. You see right there's one, and there's one, and there's one. Trips to the right side. One receiver up top. There's the snap. Little delay handoff. It goes to Saunders. He breaks outside on the edge, and he'll get out of bounds, pushed out of bounds. Not the 46-yard line, maybe the 47. It'd be
He's
very
only
close
a
to a
yard
first down.
short. Yep.
9-yard gain will bring up 2nd and 1. Second and 1, Rice in the gun. He'll take the snap, drops back, looks, throws over the middle, and that's got to be a hold.
Be an interference or a hold.
I
but
mean, there's no flag. That's
No.
incredible. Tabori Reed had him absolute wrap. And you know what? I'm going to give. I think the officiating has been pretty good today, but that was a missed call. No one saw that one. Reed had his both hands basically held by Cade Sheedy, and he just was never able to really even come for that.
Lassoed up,
Yep.
if you will.
3rd and 1. 5 of 14 on third downs of the Blue Raiders.
And I just saw the first snowflake go by.
You're about 3.5 minutes behind. Snap. Rice drops back. Quick throw out on the edge, and nice defensive effort out on the edge by Dick Herber as he knocked it away from Bailey, and that'll bring up 4th and 1.
A couple of times we've called Dick Herber's name today.
.557 left in this one. 35-7. The Raiders just could never get anything going. Just couldn't do it. They were inside the red zone a couple times in the first half, couldn't put up points. This one's going to be 4th and 1. Rice in the gun. He'll take the snap. Pitches it outside to Saunders. Grandview right there, and it's going to be a 4 or 5 yard loss back to the 41-yard line, and that's going to pretty much wrap up this disappointing day.
Yeah, Vikings all the way, and now one of the players for Lindsey Wilson's doing a lot of talking again over on near the sideline, and that's same gentleman that's had issues all day, Larry Montgomery. Official doing a good job, just standing between him, letting him say his piece as he's backing him away.
5:51 left, and Grandview takes over from their own 41-yard, from the Lindsey Wilson 41-yard line.
Frustrating day for Big Larry.
Waring will go under center. Van Pelt in the backfield. Snap. He'll take the handoff. That's actually Schultz. Bounces outside, and a good tackle while let's see who that was.
Couldn't tell if that was Sam Taylor.
Yeah, I think it was Sammy Taylor. He was engaged with another defender and just kind of shunned that one off and was able to make the tackle. It'll be a 1-yard gain. All on the 40-yard line. 2nd down, 9 to go as we head towards 5 minutes left in this one. Toki goes in motion. Waring's going to keep this one as he tries to get outside on the edge and steps out of bounds. He was chased out by Caleb Bridges. Gain of a couple. Down to the 37-yard line. Brings up 3rd down and 6. 4:50 left. Clock moving here in the 4th period. Grandview with a 35-7 lead. I don't think anybody saw this score coming. Most of the pundits out there that follows NAIA football thought this would be a heck of a football game, and it just never materialized. You got to tip your cap to Grandview. Handoff. Getting outside, that's Williams, and a good job by Lindsey Wilson defense on pursuit. You had 3 Blue Raiders there, led by Jaden Walker, and that's going to bring up 4th down and 4. Four minutes left. Grayview 1 of 1 on 4th down today. Waring in the gun. Looks to the sideline. Play clock down to 10. There's the snap. He drops back, looking to throw. It's caught. First down. Into the breadbasket of Tristan Williams, who's made a couple of big catches today. That one, I wouldn't call it a big one, but it does keep the ball in Grandview's hand. Their 21st first down of the day.
Williams, a big wide receiver, 6'4", 215, just sat down in front of that zone defense.
Waring goes under center. There's the snap. Handoff to Van Pelt. And he's tackled by a couple of Blue Raiders. Jaden Walker and Braden Ford converge on that tackle. Gain of 3 will bring up 2nd down and 7. 2:52 left, clock moving. Disappointing day, but a great season for Lindsey Wilson back in the football championship series. After a 3-year absence, they won the Mid-South Conference regular season championship.
Yeah, it's a tough way to go out, Chris, but you're absolutely right. It's been a terrific season.
Handoff goes to Van Pelt, and a good tackle by Lindsey Wilson's Bennett McDougal. We said his name a couple of times today. Loss of a yard. Brings up 3rd down and 7. 10-win season. Anytime you get to double-digit wins, Bob, you've done something.
Yeah, and especially at the NAIA level where most, Lindsey Wilson, a 10 schedule, 10 games in the regular season.
2-minute timeout. Step away for 30 seconds. This is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. $35-7 our score. 2 minutes left in this one. Grandview facing a 3rd down and 7 to go. Van Pelt in the backfield. Waring under center. He'll take the snap, make a handoff, rolls out to his right side. He's going to keep it and will be pulled down at the 15-yard line. Enough for the first down. And Grandview won't have to. Well, they can get victory formation. I don't imagine the Blue Raiders will want to extend this at all. Game clock at 1:44, play clock at 20.
Couple of snaps and you can put it to bed.
That's exactly what they'll do.
Well, it has been a fantastic year, and Chris, it's been a good run.
Sure has. It's a good bounce back year for Lindsey Wilson after missing the playoffs.
And I know you probably don't want me to say much, but
Minute left in this one. 35-7 our score.
I just want you to know.
I appreciate it. Grandview will move on. They'll learn tonight who they will host next week. Geyser will host the other semifinal game. There's the snap and a knee. 40 seconds left in this one. And they're going to have to snap it one more time. 1 second difference in the game and play clock. And there's the snap and the knee. 35-7, Grandview wins it. Grandview will remain unbeaten, and Lindsey Wilson's season will come to an end at 10-2 here in the NAIA quarterfinals. Let's take a 2-minute break. We'll be back. This is Blue Raider football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network.
Well,
35-7, our final score. Grandview wins it here this afternoon over Lindsey Wilson. Blue Raider season comes to an end at 10-2. Jamari Sow with the Champions of Character for Lindsey Wilson. Ryan Sadler, the Champions of Character for Grandview. Getting ready to do offensive and defensive players of the game.
players, okay. On the defensive side, it will go to number 10, John Argo.
John Argo will be the defensive player of the game, led him in tackles this afternoon. Finished with 9. Actually, Fowler led him in tackles.
It was an 85-yard kick return number 9.
They give the player of the game, offensive player of the game, to Isaac Crackle for that kickoff return. So
That kickoff return sealed the deal for him, so you can kind of understand it.
yeah, because
Looked
Lindsey
like-
Wilson had just they cut it to 21-7, and you just never know what's going to happen. And then, well, just like that, they just snatched all the momentum. You're exactly right, Bob. Bob, let's go through the final stats one final time for this 2025 season.
22 first downs for Grandview compared to 14 for the Blue Raiders. Lindsey Wilson rushed the ball 31 times for just 75 yards. Grandview just 4 yards shy of 200, 196 on 37 carries. Through the air, Blue Raiders 18 of 30 overall for 149 yards. Couple that with the yards on the ground, 224 yards of offense for the Blue Raiders on 61 snaps. Grandview, 14 of 20 through the air, 179 yards. So they ended up with 375 yards of offense on 57 plays, averaging 6.6 yards per snap. The Blue Raiders, 3.7 yards per snap. There were no, Lindsey Wilson did not fumble the football. They did not turn the ball over other than on downs because they were 1 of 5 on fourth down efforts today. They did win the turnover battle, if you will, getting the one fumble from Grandview. They did not have any interceptions. Lindsey punted the ball 4 times for a 31-yard average, 2 punts for Grandview for a 37.5-yard average. Time of possession split just about right down the middle. Third down efficiency, neither team was outstanding. Blue Raiders were 5 of 15. Grandview just 4 of 10. However, Grandview converted 2 of 2 on fourth down, as I said earlier. Lindsey Wilson just 1 of 5. Leading tackler in the game for the Blue Raiders was Bridges ended up with 8 tackles on the day. Sam Taylor, 27 defensive back Sam Taylor, had 7 total tackles, 5 apiece for Gant and Barnett. So all in all, Chris, just Grandview's a really good football team. There's not a lot more you can say about them than what you saw here today out of the Vikings.
No doubt about it. They'll be one of the favorites, if not the favorite, to repeat as national champions. Of course, they've been number 1 all season long after winning the national championship last season. You just wonder, and I'll be eager to see going down the line if the Kaiser, the forfeit that allowed Kaiser to take this weekend off will mean anything. But to be honest with you, the Vikings were so dominant today. I just didn't get a sense that they had to exert a lot today, Bob. Even though I know that Lindsey Wilson is a physical team as well, and it just, I don't know. It was a tough afternoon for Lindsey Wilson. They just couldn't ever get anything going, and you just got to tip your cap to Grandview.
Yeah, you do. And, this is a program that has put 2 national championships in the books and looking forward to another one here today. I'm anxious, like you, to see how the rest of the tournament plays out. They're going to have to face a pretty good team in Kaiser at some point. Yeah, I think that to me is those are the 2 teams, Kaiser and this team we saw here. Wouldn't be a bit surprised if they don't have to meet next week in the semis. It'd make for a heck of a championship game.
The other scores real quick before we close out the broadcast here. Just waiting for my page to refresh. There it goes. Benedictine continues to lead Friends 17-7, 9:24 left in the third period, and College of Idaho now beating Montana Tech 14-0. You got to think if those results hold steady, I would estimate that I don't really know what they would end up doing. I know Benedictine can travel here to Grandview without a flight. College of Idaho is going to get on a plane regardless of whether they're going to here or to Kaiser. It just depends on how they want to, the seating would say that College of Idaho should come here and Benedictine should go to Grandview, but that's not always the case. That's why it's a football championship series and not a tournament format. So
good point.
So we'll see how that plays out. 35-7, our final score here. This is our final broadcast of this 2025 season. Want to thank everybody involved. Want to thank WAIN. They have always been great partners of Lindsey Wilson and Lindsey Wilson Athletics. Addie Bennett has been fantastic back in the WAIN studios, really every time we've had the broadcast, including today. So thank you so much, Addie. Want to thank Coach Phil Collector for his pre- and post-game thoughts every game. We're not going to have him come up here today. He'd have to track through snow and ice into metal bleachers, and that's just not fun. And I'm not going to make him come up here and do that. We'll catch up with Coach Kleckler later, potentially even a Zoom or a video that we'll put on YouTube later this evening. Let him talk about the season a little bit. My partner, as always, Bob Boone. Thank you for everything that you
Thank
do.
you.
What a great. He is so much fun to broadcast with. We bust on each other from time to time. You hear it sometimes on the air, but he is a dear friend and a great analyst. He knows his football, despite the fact that he's a Buckeye. So we won't hold that against him. And of course, you, the listener. Thanks so much to all of you for staying with us this season. It's been a fun season. 10 wins, Mid South Conference champions. It's been a delight to bring it to you each and every week. Lindsey Wilson falls here in the national quarterfinals, 35-7. And then this is me signing out off for the final time this season. Blue Raiders fall by a score of 35-7. Until next season, I'm Chris Wells. This has been Blue Raider Football on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network.